was a high take there on Tesla. This is actually, we got to go now, but this is actually a pretty good look on the top end there for TSLA. And just another update, man. I took another out at 135. You know, we'll ring the register there for another $2, and now we'll wait to see how low SpaceX can go. And I'm going to put a bid, man, right down into here. The low of the day, 133.50. Then we'll see if we get 132.50 for SpaceX. But yeah, big day alert on SpaceX, big day on Apple, big day everywhere. It's 11 o'clock. Thanks, Fabian, Ramin, One, Sharif, Joe, Adara in the background. Thank you so much to Tiffany. Thank you so much to Andre as well. But we're gone. We don't know what's for lunch. We'll get it on the midday show. We're back at 2 p.m. For now, it's Midday Madness. See you then.
Cool sandwiches.
Yeah, that sandwich.
Katina Man was shouting out Ram Ram there. You can't do that, bro. They lost.
That's all right.
They lost. Stop, man. Sia was pointing out that Jude was being tackled unfairly. Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That is your boy Joey Options. I am Sharif. And we got JC Trader, Brown Lightning, Andrew freaking Chow. I see you, Adam. I see you. He was pumped. He was pumped that Argentina and Spain are going to play in the final.
Who, ADL?
Yeah. Adam James Abroad.
Yeah.
It's going to be an all-Spanish final. The old world and the new world. The colony versus, you know, the mother country.
Oh.
We'll go into that. Hey, wasn't it? Am I wrong there? Ronaldo, look at this guy, bro. Calm down,
favorite. That's my favorite Selly now, man.
We got Lemon Family. We got Akash. We got Big Wick Energy.
Oh.
Joseph, okay? It's Big Wick Energy.
They get it right.
We got Farm Trader. We got Zen Zombie, Lidware, Dan, UTT, Trout, 2009, Juan Ramos, Rex Banner, Ray Boss, Florida. Shout out to Trouts, 2009. Maybe he's picking up some Trout. My man Benton, come on, you Gunners. Who did we sign, Benton? I didn't get it on the wire. I need to know immediately who we signed. We were looking at Bruno Guimaraes or whatever from Newcastle, but they were asking way too much money, man. Hangry Wife, we got Dino Vincent, we got OG Darth Trader. Shout out to T, what's up, yo? Juan Ramos, Stone Broke since yesterday. Ja P, Red Potato 007. We got Athena. We got Winnie Wanjiru, okay. Danny Day Trizzy, love the name, man. Shout out to Danny Day. And we got the OG himself, Luis frickin' Barbado from the Real Trading Office in Barcelona, Spain. Amazing trader. Shout out to Finch Jane. Argentina, he's yelling. Who else, man? One more here. We're going to go Grunfeld. What's up, my man? Grunfeld. Lots of small cap gappers making moves here. Joey, you want to cover something or should I?
Absolutely.
Okay, go.
VinFast continues to expand beyond vehicle sales. This week, VinFast India partnered with Shriram Finance to support EV financing access, while Green SM launched all-electric ride-hailing in Kazakhstan. With VinFast VF6 vehicles together, these moves highlight VinFast's broader mobility ecosystem. You can find them on the NASDAQ under ticker VFS. One more thing, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
Because we cannot do this no longer. We must. Give a shout out to our good friends over there on TikTok. Bruce Wayne is in the chat. Especially when Batman himself is kicking around, we have to acknowledge that. Bruce Wayne, what's going on? Make it make sense. I like that one. You versus you, entrepreneur, Dan chat. We have Bravely, Quilly, protagonist.
He's a protagonist.
I know.
I like
Andre Weka, Kendrick Farrow. What's going on, everyone? Leanne, Mao, Lid. Okay, we don't like that one. Handyman, Jay Flit, Love and Hope, Jury, Random From, Annie. What's going on, Annie? DS. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? All right, Emperor, Tech, and Chris. I'll never do that again. Chris.
Don't backtrack, my boy. Own it.
It's too late.
Own it,
I have to accept it. All right, that's fair. I can live with it.
Yeah, you can. All right, guys. Let's get right down to work. Here we go. So here's what we're looking at, Tiffany. This is the 8, the trusty 8. Small caps that we got. Look, I was yelling to the Katina Mountain about stack because it was stacking a bit here through the $4 area last. Much like a lot of these small cappers lately, it didn't have the follow through. I don't know if this is the end of the story here, but we are putting decidedly lower lows and lower highs on the 5-minute ever since putting in that high day at 415. STAK in focus. It's above VWAP. but it is south of 4. And when you get this close to 5, I start thinking 5, but maybe I need to think again, because lately the small cap gappers have been disappointing me in terms of their continuity to the high side, not so low side. If you're short, you've been loving life, right? Because a lot of them have been failing. You'll see a couple of small cap gapper names on there. Bottom left of your screen, RKLZ. That is an inverse leveraged ETF. We're going to be looking at that one. We got LCID as well, man. Somebody tell Lucid that the news was bad a couple of days ago, because it doesn't think so. It's being bought up pretty aggressively. Something tells me, my spidey sense is telling me, we may not be at the end of this matters. When you get a buy up like this, somebody knows something, okay? So we're going to keep an eye on Lucid for some announcements coming in the next few days, because we're taking out area highs there, up 13.25. We'll see what Lucid's got up its metaphorical sleeve. Okay, so LCID, MAN, man, I like this one. 50, 197, a bit more expensive. A lot of respect for the volume weighted average price. We're putting in a gnarly looking upward channel now with respect for the 10 EMA. 52.19, we're above 50. Let's see if this one can kind of hold above $50. That's going to be a key level for me, especially with volume weighted average price, I think like 30 pennies below the 50. So if they overlap, I think that'll be a good technical area. Sorry, we're just going to keep going here. Then I'll get to the super in one. Mike P. D. White, 11 to 2, 11 to 2.
I like that, 11
That's
to 2.
my guy.
Man.
He's our guy. Zena. This is one of my good buddy's sister's names. Z-E-N-A. Zena.
Like that.
That's what we call her. 164, Joey. Light volume on this one. This one had a good day yesterday, then did basically nothing for the majority of the day. But hey, it's doing something now. So we're going to keep it on watch. Let's see if it holds up and holds trend. Z-E-N-A and focus, or Z-E-N-A for my American friends out there. Sorry. DXCM, very expensive. Not really kind of down my wheelhouse here, but if there's nothing else to trade, I'm looking at 78 on DXCM. Reason? Super simple. Top end of the range of the initial bull flag. I perceive the bull flag to have broken out at 930 from that low of 73. Rockets up to $78. Holds VWAP, holds the 10 EMA, but look how many times we reject 78. That is, of course, until that monster candle on the 5-minute chart at 1045 rips through it into 79.15, 78 to 77.75, and buy area for me. Probably don't buy it, though, because it's too expensive. GT, almost done here. Sorry, Joey.
It's all right.
We got GT over here. This one, I have so many jokes I can make. So many cars have GT attached to their name.
Snow Racer?
There's so many, bro. How about the Mustang GT?
Oh.
You know what I mean? There's so many. Ripping up here. Good move into 7.25, minus 1 penny, 724 high, 10 EMA on the 5 showing 715. VWAP at around 702, 703. Last but not least, MAT. M-A-T. Also ripped up right at 935, held 1440, pardon me, into 1468, kind of putting a bit of a downtrend now. But you gotta tell you the truth, man. I mean, none of them are looking as good as Stack. Because, Joey,
Yeah.
what am I going to say about this one?
Stacked market?
It's stacked, okay? All right, even though
stacked
it's
market,
with a K.
Because Big Sean was there.
Big Sean, yeah.
Yeah, not the one to our right. The
Well,
other
yeah,
Big-
I know, the rep.
second Big Sean, not the Big Sean.
All right, Bovin says SkyQ is moving. So Bovin says I look, because Bovin's the OG, right? There goes SkyQ, Bovin into an area high. He loves these ones that do no volume, though. He is the no volume small cap expert. Bovin frickin' Patel from the great, fantastic state of Texas.
Oh.
People are going to hate me.
Wow,
all
we
right,
love
770, because a lot of people don't like Texas.
That's their
770, 370, 372 area high, Joey. Nice breakout there, SkyQ.
All right, okay. All right, man. We had some time. Let's rock and roll on what we had going on here today. Full disclosure, we got NVDL on right now. I don't know how much I'm in love with it. It just seems relatively weak, but we got a little bit of a pop right there. We'll take it for what it is. But SSPC, this is the inverse ETF for us. That's starting to slowly work. Now, I held on to this NVDL trade for as long as I possibly could, and will continue to do so just in case there's any form of a sustained bounce. But I have no issues getting out of this. Now, I'm sitting on approximately 10%, but this was my big attempt this morning. Now, compared to any other position, I had 3 times the amount on this specific one. And then, unfortunately, we take the L. But what we're taking W's on right now, Sharif, is NVDA. We'll take a little bit off right there. But this loss, I just put, I risked quite a bit on it, and we take an L, and then sure enough, I've been digging myself out of a hole. But what we did have going on for us here bright and early was a couple of wins right out of the gate on this bad boy, and just some scalps getting out when we were supposed to, and then we just take another scalp right here. So boom, boom, those moves. I was posted up around 31.86 for that move higher. Wasn't fortunate enough to get it. That's okay. We can live with it, for we are patient. And we got the levels that we wanted. So we may as well take a little bit more out right here.
Take it, Joey.
Did I catch the fill? I don't know. I did.
I don't know.
Let's go. We'll grab a little bit more as we pop up through this level. So, man, things are starting to cook up. I believe SSPC is definitely one of our better performers here today, as well as we're hovering around the high of the day, once again sitting on around 30% of that. So we have one losing trade and four winners, all right? But it doesn't matter. Let me tell you this. Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, let me tell you something right now. We're going to get out of NVDA. We'll lock that in. Now, thanks to the boys to our right for giving this shout out. But there's something really important, and it's key for us to write this, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows with ice cream, right? Because considering what happened?
That's a good one. I like the addition of the ice cream.
The ice cream, right? Because I mean, ice cream is associated with good times. Now I could have held on to this NVDA a little bit longer, but it is what it is. So what I'm going to get down to here momentarily is that I had significantly more on this position, to the tune where if you're really looking at a risk to reward, and we often talk about, hey, I have 1 winner and 3 losers, but my 1 winner almost eliminates all of those losers. That wasn't the case. It was inverse of that to me, right, for me today. Now, risk to reward is extremely key, but I just didn't have the size to kind of eliminate that factor and run into a positive risk to reward. So we take 3 wins on NVDL and 1 win on SSPC, and it just eliminated our losses, okay? That was just due to sizing. Now, that's just me. I don't want it to be like that.
He doesn't want it.
I don't want it to be like that, because that's not correct. But I also have to take into consideration my risk measures, which made me size down, and then try to ramp up my accuracy, okay? I think that's really important to note. And like Sean was saying earlier, like Neil was saying, we will tell you everything, all right? We're not going to hide anything. If you ask us the question, we'll answer it, all right? So that's when this is today where I had an inverse correlation between my win rate and my loss rate. My loss was by far bigger than any of my wins here today. I just had to accumulate a bunch of small wins in order to eliminate that. Do I want it that way, like I just said? Absolutely not.
All right, man. I've worked into Lucid here. There is an area of support that I like at 660 on Lucid. It is the former area of resistance, I want to say from essentially 1020 to the breakout at 1045. And it's also overlapping with the 10 moving average on the 5, exponential always. So we're going to take a shot here on Lucid. It's up 11 3/4. I'll submit to you that's pretty good for a name like Lucid. It's not, technically a small cap gapper, right? Because it's got, I think, what is it now? 5 billion? $2.6 billion market cap. So not a small cap gapper in the strict sense, but clearly running like one, especially with this kind of chart pattern. So we're going to give this one the old community college try, and we'll see what we get. Silly no show. I love your responses to Joey. Yeah, man, we're having a good time, bro. His responses are pretty good too. Shout out to MF Dangerous. Yeah, video man. Exactly, MF. Because, he was trying to, he paid to jump out, and then he tried convincing the people about to push him not to do it. So it's like, why'd you pay, right? So the absurdity of it is not lost on me at all. So that's why we kind of do that. But anyway, Tiffany, we're looking at STAK over here, Tiff. And the reason we're looking at this one, because it's putting in some higher lows, but the higher highs continue to elude this. So does a decisive clearing of that $4 level. No closing prints above said $4 level. Now, let me tell you something. There's support at 340. Much for the same reason I see support at 340, I see it on LCID at 660. So here's the deal, Joseph Options.
Tell me.
We're going to build incrementally said position.
On stack.
No, on our, sorry, on stack. I'm losing it, Joey. Into 340, knowing full well that 340 level is below the volume weighted average price. We got 85s, 94 showing up here. Let's throw a couple of beak wetters, man. Maybe one north of 4 and one south of 4. Just to get, there it goes, Joseph Options.
Let's go.
Through 4. It's having trouble maintaining above 4. That tells you that the short sellers are angry as hell, right? They don't want to see this above 4. Luis, what are you doing over there, man?
Where is he?
We need an explanation.
Where is he? Call him. Get him on the phone.
You get him on the phone. We had him on the phone yesterday, man. Why don't you ask him that? All right, get him on the phone immediately, says the Katina man. Katina is very disappointed about the price action on stack. Shout out to my man. No, so we're building a position here incrementally. I want to defend that 340 area. I do see a lot of other support at 350, namely the volume weighted average price and the 10 EMA. But what I'm seeing is a breakout from 340. So we're going to give this one the old college try. We'll see how it goes. We got 379. We got a couple of beak wetters through 4, but we're still holding the majority of the position, and we're out of the money. So that's the nature of the beast. Let's go over here, though, to LCID, because that one's treating us well. Into 372 it goes. The spread is opening up to 2 pennies. Don't know why, but that is kind of the look there. So let's set up some more profit takers a little bit higher. But I also want to defend into... You know who loves that?
Ozan.
Exactly. He knew.
I thought it was made for Ozan.
I don't know if it was or not. I'm pretty sure it was just the cash cow, because that's an expression. It's made for SpaceX shorts.
Oh.
The Katina man said this specific animation was designed 4 years ahead of the SpaceX IPO specifically for when he takes it short. So shout out to the
interrupt the Stone Cold.
Don't, my bad, bro. What am I doing? Talking on my own
No,
show.
no. Come on, man.
I'm having a good time, bro.
Was that you, Katina man?
It's for Ozan, man.
Oh, it's for Ozan.
Joseph always thinks it's for him, man. You see that?
No.
You see that, Joey? What's going on over there, Joey?
Guys, don't misconstrue my...
Tranquile.
Yeah.
Tranquile.
No,
all right, Joey.
Sitting there, man.
All right, man. We're doing it live here again, Joey, on Stacked. As the bid is getting stacked again into the 80s. We got 79. We're wetting the beak here. We're looking for more. And Lucid's flipping the script on me all of a sudden. So we need to be careful with that one. But as we make money on Stack, there it goes again, Mr. Options, through the high of the freaking. Give me my money, man. There we go into the high of the day. Buvin, are you looking at this, Buvin? Into $0.25. I don't know why I'm eliciting Buvin into this, but like he has something to do with it.
Get involved.
But he's my guy, right? Shout out to my man Buvin. So there he is, Stack, boom, on cue, Buvin. Well done, my man. There it goes, Joseph Options. We got 75. We have the high of the day on this one into the high teens. We're looking for a little bit more, but as we make it on that, we're losing it on this one. Lucid coming back into the $0.50. Let's see if we can pick up some here. Joey, what are you looking at?
Good stuff, man. We take a little bit more off the top here on SSPC, guys. This is the inverse ETF for SpaceX. We got all out of that NVDA scalp. We took some off the lows, and I told you it's just been like, hey, man, it's really like this isn't ideal for me, obviously, as I was mentioning. I wanted this trade all the way down here, then wasn't willing to chase. I was posted up at the lower end of the range, and then it decided to go. Then I'm like, all right, maybe momentum and volume, as you can see, is starting to stair step up. Let's get involved for the break of the volume weighted average price, and then maybe we can get a little party on here with this one, but not necessarily, no continuation. But we're starting to form an additional base. Now, we will keep our eye out on SpaceX. I'm sitting on approximately about like, we'll call it less than 10% on this position now. I did remove half off right here. Why? Because that was correlated with $135 on SpaceX, and we've been consistently looking at that level. I actually have something cool to show you. Obi and I were talking last night, and dude, look at this on the 1-minute chart. I've never seen anything like that. Obi agreed like this. So this, Sharif, look at the, are you busy?
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry.
Okay.
Bro. Give me one moment here.
So this is the 1 second chart on SpaceX at 135.
Okay.
I've never. You're not even.
You sorry?
Yeah. Okay, do
brother.
your thing,
You know how these small caps are.
Talk to.
Go, let me have a look.
Look, I've never seen anything like this. This
What
is
the
the
hell is
1
that?
second chart on SpaceX before the 135 break.
So are those dark pools? What the hell is that?
Dude, it's some obviously crazy activity going on here. So someone just continuously defending it, and there's 1 million shares on the bid here at 135. And then eventually it just flushed. And then when everybody's like, oh my God, what's going on at that 135 break? Look at this price action. It looks like it's some form of algo or small cap trader right here with no volume. That wasn't the case. And then boom, flush,
boom,
hits the liquidity. Look at this candle. And this is 3 seconds. You have to take that into consideration. This is the 1 second chart. So this was some big time.
Big tune.
Yeah, big. Big time.
His Jamaican side comes out randomly. Anytime you mention dance hall or reggae, right away.
You don't even
bro.
understand, man. We got a membership promo. But yeah, man, in all seriousness, there's some really big time fishy activity going on at that specific level, guys. It was really great to see.
Guys, I got to tell you something. Quick reminder that Trader TV Live members on YouTube get mine, Sharif's daily morning research note every single trading day that I am here. We're talking about the big market stories, the key technical levels, the trade plans, how to get in, how to get out, what you're looking for, and what specifically we're watching into the open. It is only $4.99 a month, as the Katina man astutely points out every single morning. It is the price of less than a cup of coffee per day, far less, especially if you're going somewhere thrift. And you also get members-only videos, posts, custom emojis, and loyalty badges. Hit the button join below this video to become a member, and I will show you exactly what the morning note looks like in 1/2 second. But I do want to point this out, Tiffany. We're printing up several storms here on STAK, as this has a 438 high. We've got, I believe, 430 something as the best print there. Now, it did close for the first time above the $4 area. I'm talking about the 11:15 candle on the 5-minute chart. That is the first time we actually closed above 4. This current candle has a higher low and a higher high, so I do not see any reason whatsoever, save and except for a big, huge flush down to get out of this trade. I'm looking for $5, guys. Now, whether I get 5 or not, maybe I'm being too ambitious in a market that hasn't been all that friendly to small cap gappers lately. We shall see. But I have a good buffer between my entry and the current price action, so I hate to use this word or this phrase, pardon me, rest easy. You shouldn't be resting easy because this is small cap gapper. Somebody with a big account can absolutely manipulate this in one direction or the other. You need to be alive to that, okay? What's going on over there, Katina man? The Katina man's got yet another dollar on the SpaceX short as that continues.
No, it's moving higher now, my boy.
It's moving higher, he says. He's out at 134. Shout out to the Katina man. Now, I want to bring in Lucid over here, Joey, because we're break even on Lucid, right? Exactly break even. So decisions to be made. We've built up a decent position here on the high-end electric vehicle maker, but it's not showing me key technical signs. So I'm unsure how to, square this circle. And shout out, man, to Sunshine. Thank you, Sunshine, for joining. Shout out to you. You get my morning note every single morning, and that is going to be my cue to show you exactly where to go and what it looks like. So the way to get the morning note, if you are a member, right, you got to hit join below this video to become a member. You're going to mosey on over to the Trader TV Live homepage, right, Joey?
Show me.
And then you're going to see the tabs at the top over here. Home, video, short, live. You want to go to posts right there. Click that bad boy. And then you're going to mosey on down. You're going to see 3 hours ago it was posted. It was posted at 7:30. Members only. That's how you'll know this is for you here. It's going to say members only in green. I put a little picture of the first page, right? Typically, and then we have a little summary of what it is. You click read more, and there's the link. Hit that bad boy. Today, I think we have 14 pages. Yeah, 14 different stories, each with its own technical levels. You get the story at the top, very, very just brief explanation of the story. It's not the focal point here. The focal point are the technical levels and the trade plan. Under the technicals, you're going to get a 15-minute setup, so that's intraday, and you're going to get a 4-hour setup. That's for swings, right? And you're going to get 3 areas of support, 3 areas of resistance for both the swing and intraday. You're going to get a 15-minute structure and a 4-hour structure. That essentially shows you what you're looking at if you're looking at those respective charts, the structure of the chart. We often talk about that. And then the bias. Typically, you'll have multiple biases here, right? If it does this, my bias is this. If it goes above 122, my bias is bullish. If it's below 118, my bias is bearish, etc. And then you get the intraday plan, right? Watch this, and if it does this, look for this, sort of like an A, B kind of thing. You're going to get that for both the swing and the intraday, and the catalyst watch, telling you specific headlines you should be on the lookout for here. And then an execution mindset to summarize the whole thing, how to look at the trade, how to look at the specific name given the move. All right, let's go over here because we're taking prints here finally on Lucid. It's treating me well here, Joey, but it's not giving me prints. There we go. We're going to take it out there. And then we did get the print on stack into the high of day, but it's flushing again. Joseph options back down into 4.
All right, so yeah, good out there, Katina man, at that 134 marker as we're starting to come back in pretty aggressively here. And I mean, there was every signal displaying that we were going to turn around. So maybe we have to just listen to that voice in the back of our head. We're all out of it now, right into the volume-weighted average price, and we had a small fraction. Obviously, we give back some unrealized, but I was like, man, I'm already short. This would have been really nice to go long right here off of this level. And then there you go. There's a bunch of 1-minute prints, and you can see the buying pressure really start to step in on NVDA as we continue to move a little bit higher. Grabbing that base, man, was a good opportunity. So let's keep an eye out on that one. Nice out, Katina man. No, Ozan. Why would you ever want to do
Joe poor again? That's crazy talk.
Well,
Ozan.
I mean, you don't have to do it again.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
He's not as sarcastic in person.
In person?
No.
Yeah.
He took me by surprise. Watch out, guys. Stack is flushing. Stack is flushing. It's bleeding its own blood. Careful.
All right, man. Yeah, watch out. That one's not so stacked
He's actually
man.
quite a
humble individual.
Yes, but also highly intellectual.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I think, don't they say, I mean, it's not in every case, but the more the ability you have to be sarcastic, then maybe, I don't know. Anyways, I'm not going to go down that
I think he's sarcastic. That's his, like, online persona.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And exactly, yeah, it's his online persona.
Get it, Ozan.
Get it, Ozan. So, yeah, I mean, there it is. Tesla.
I love when the Katina Man is here and he listens to our banter, bro. He's always chuckling.
He can chime in any given moment, man. Let's see what he's got going on. Katina Man out of the SpaceX. Anything new cooking up there, brother? I was looking at Google not too long ago. Guess what? Google.
Katina Man shorting the market.
Katina Man shorting the market. Yeah. Well, guess what? Google went from negative to positive. That one. Bang, we like Google over here in this neck of the woods as AAPL now up 1%, heading right back towards the high of the day. Why am I not displaying this to you guys? As you can see, we'll head over to our watch list and see it's full of energy here today, man. Listen, we don't want to crash or anything along those lines, so we're gonna try to ride this out.
Hold on, I got a question.
Yeah, how many coffees today?
You're brilliant, bro. You already know me.
Yeah, I'm so good at that.
Because you set up at it
I'm good with that. No,
you're pretty good.
Only 2, man.
Only 2?
Listen.
What time is it? Oh, yeah, you're good.
No, but I won't be having any more, man. I won't be having any more. I had to calm down on the caffeine intake.
You guys believe that guy, man? He says he's not going to have any more.
I'm serious. All right. So hey man, it is what it is.
Joe.
But you know what's not hot today, Sharif?
What's not, Joey?
That's SanDisk down another 37% here today, man. You know what I say, and it's complete exaggeration.
He's exaggerating.
Absolutely sucks to suck, and I'm not gonna say that it's sucking, but right now it's not performing that well, down 37%. I mean, we're not too far away from this stock being cut in half, and I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we do have a 40+% pullback that'll put you around that $1,100 marker. Well, guess what?
Yes, sir.
You buy some. No, I'm not. This is not financial advice. Do not listen to what I say. But for me, I said I was going to roll over my picks. Sharif, I'm sorry, that's no longer the case. I ain't going to make it that easy.
You're not going to make it easy?
Heck no.
All right, Joey, so what do you got in store?
You'll find out tomorrow.
You're going to find out? You're not going to let anybody know ahead of time?
No.
It's over.
It's over because there's no way I'm going to make it that easy around these neck of the woods. and I'm not going to excuse my competitive nature. But anyways, what we have going on here is I do believe we're going to get a little bit deeper of a pullback, guys, in some of these memory names. I like DRAM. We're already down 30%, but Sean was talking about it bright and early this morning. Is you have to pay attention what's in the core holdings. So let's do that right now, and good thing we already have it up on the screen.
Oh.
Now, a lot of this is fixed income, Sharif.
Okay.
All right? 28%.
You mean the dividend aristocrats like that, eh? They like that fixed income love.
Yeah, but within an ETF.
Oh,
yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, you think you're getting complete exposure to some of the holdings? Well, a lot of this is government bonds.
Horrible.
Right? 30% of its holdings are government bonds.
I never understand that. If I want to hold government bonds,
then you would.
I'd hold government bonds. I'm buying DRAM because I want to get RAM exposure.
Exactly.
Why do they do that?
I don't know, man. It's a great question. And it's the exact same thing with the MEG. So watch it. We like DRAM, but a lot of it is held in bonds and treasuries, all right? Now, Megs, before we send it over to the desk, because we got Big W back in the house, glad to have him back here today. Same thing. Look at this. The MEG 7 ETF is 60% fixed income, guys, all right? So that's something that we need to and like, this is crazy. 22% equity? Like, come on. It makes things, I mean, that's why they're not as volatile, obviously, which makes a lot of sense. But you also have to really dive into what the holdings are. And at times, I'll have you scratching your head, like, what is going on here? Let's send it over.
Hold on. I wanna mention one thing before we send it.
Absolutely.
So Juan and Adara are going to do, of course, the Euro close. But Juan, we need your commentary, sir, on yesterday's game. Please give us, your view on yet another disappointing knockout.
Sorry to interrupt you, but look at the flooding in Texas. Love goes out to
catastrophic flooding in Texas.
Yeah, I just seen Dallas. Dallas was raining.
That was Dallas, eh?
Yeah.
All right, so let's send it to Juan and Adara.
Yeah, what do you got, Juan?
Yeah, pretty much yesterday's match. I only watched the second half, so I saw all the goals. But in all honesty, I think England dropped the ball because they were leading and they decided to just park the bus the entire game. And I'm like, come on, you don't give Argentina the chance to freaking counterattack or pressure you that way. I think they dropped the ball. There were some calls that were 50-50 that went to the other side, but I think England, they weren't going there to win. They were there to try get the draw, try get the penalties. I don't know. But Argentina, Spain, and Spain is my #1 pick for the tournament. So let's hope for the best. Anyway, let's continue on to the European markets. Here, closing a little bit mixed tech sector volatility as well as escalating Middle East geopolitical tensions, overshadowing some of the corporate earnings from the region. If we take a look at the indexes, stocks Euro 600 down by 0.18%. In negative territory, because of IMF, International Monetary Fund, they had a downgrade for the 2026 Eurozone growth outlook from 1.4% to that of 0.9%. And that's mainly due to that of the Strait of Hormuz standoff, as well as some high energy costs. Inflation also sticky near 2.9%. That's from the IMF. If we went over to Germany, the DAX also down by 0.72%. They're leading the softness route in the European region. Tech shares mainly continue to struggle. We see among the biggest decliners in the region, chipmaker Infineon Technologies down 1.8%, Siemens down by 1.3%. And then in France, the CAC 40 also down by 0.46%. Total Energies, they dropped by 1.6%. The company warning that LNG earnings would decline due to softer European demand. However, their Q2 was higher than expected, the profit. So that was mainly supported by a surge in energy prices based on the Middle East war. And finally, in the UK, United Kingdom, FTSE 100, the only leaders for the region, even though they've got a little bit of a healthcare drag, the UK GDP rose by 0.1% in May, which is a rebounding from that of 0.1% contraction in April. So right now it's a 3-month growth to a robust 0.7%. It's the fastest pace in over a year, so well done to the UK, the only green from the sector. And despite all that, right now it's a sell the news technology, there's a hangover there. TSMC's record 77% Q2 net profit jump. Mainly all the tech bulls struggling overnight. We saw Kospi down by 6% overnight. It's dragging all the European chips shares down. ASML, they had some good earnings. They were leading by about 2%, but then now trading flat. ST Microelectronics as well as BE Semiconductor all falling between 2 and 3%. So investors pretty much looking for profit taking following a massive first half rally. So yeah.
Yeah, sell the news in tech. That's the theme. We'll see more tech names, I'm sure, at the 3:30 p.m. segment when One will go over the Asian markets. Back to the midday.
Much for that. Great information, Juan. Thank you, Adara, for that. All right, guys, we're still holding Lucid at $0.75. We have 54, but I need to bring your attention to the seller at the 3/4 to 4/5 of a dollar, because we have been eluding a 680 breach here, let alone a 680, maybe even like 679. We haven't been able to get there in a while. And despite the fact we're above VWAP, the 10 EMA, whatever, we are putting in lower highs. So there is a bit of a downward push right now on Lucid, and I'm not liking the look of this one's jib. But Bovin has a solution for me. Shout out to my man Bovin. A new one has emerged. Probably not that new, but bull flagging. This is very range bound. So my suggestion for anybody who wants to trade IQST, which is the ticker of this monster, is to pick it up towards the low end of the range. It is generally putting in higher lows, but by the same token, it's also putting in lower highs. So we find ourselves with a compression pattern afoot here. So my suggestion, pick it up 120, high 1-teens. You're wetting your beak into the high to mid 120s, so for 10 to 15 pennies. And as always, you're saving a piece for that dream should it close above that trend line. Okay, so IQST in focus. Shout out to the OG Bovin. Adam, such a crazy amount of emotions. We call it passion, brother. Absolutely, man. I mean, I'm obviously not from England. I've lived there. I went to school there. I love English cars and I love Arsenal. So I have a lot of connections to England, and England was my horse. Now I'm horseless. I'm without a horse. Now we're gonna have to, just choose Spain here, because there's three Arsenal players that play for Spain, and there are 0 that play for Argentina. Moreover, I'm not one of those people who subscribes to the theory that I'm supposed to champion the team who eliminated me. I go against that completely. I hate the team. Oh, right? No, I don't hate. Hate's a strong word, but I'm definitely not cheering for them. So we'll have to see how the cookie crumbles, man. But before we go into the finals on the 19th, we got the 3rd place match game, which will be, of course, between England and
who lost again? Brother, you're asking the wrong dude.
France, Joey.
Thanks for the save.
Come on, Tiff.
Thanks,
Tiff. Make his own thing there, man. Let's go. No, we're kidding, of course.
What a
all right.
save.
Let's get right down to business. We got Todd here from Red Light Holland, and we're going to speak a little bit.
China.
Pardon me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love it when Todd's on.
I love when Todd's on as well. I love the space, and there's a big deal today between Eli Lilly, and Todd's here to talk about it.
Yeah, let's just get right into it. A little bit of an intro there already. Thank you very much to Todd Shapiro, co-founder, CEO, and director of Red Light Holland. Thank you for being here with us again on the show. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I didn't realize you guys are turning into a sports center over there, but it's good to get the soccer updates as well.
Well, let's get right back here into the stock updates, because I know one of the stories that was probably one of the biggest stories of the day, especially for the health tech sector. Eli Lilly plans to acquire ATAI Beckley, which of course is in the psychedelic space. So what does this acquisition mean for the psychedelics industry as a whole, especially given Eli Lilly's dominance in the pharmaceutical industry?
Yeah, it's absolutely massive. I mean, listen, Eli Lilly moving on ATAI Beckley shows really now how big pharma is treating psychedelics as a real acquisition category and obviously a long-term mental health solution. And we couldn't be more happy for the entire sector as a whole. And also what it does is it absolutely reinforces Red Light's pivot recently, where we acquired Filament Health. And while that is a synthetic asset over at ATAI Beckley, we are a natural extraction play. And there's been many exits for these sort of naturally occurring drug candidates of pharmaceutical grade that have been acquired by bigger pharma companies as well. Some of them happened in the cannabis space in the day, like Jazz Pharmaceuticals and GW Pharma. So this is the exact narrowed focus path that Red Light's on right now, and we couldn't be more pleased with the fact that the entire sector as a whole is getting lifted here. And really, at the end of the day, it's going to help human beings all across the world.
I found the structure of this deal really interesting, and I wanted to get your thoughts as someone in this sector. So basically, what's going to happen here is Eli Lilly, they're going to pay $2.8 billion upfront, but they can actually pay an additional $1 billion to ATAI Beckley if the company reaches certain milestones for development or regulation. So I guess, how do you feel about this structure of deal, specifically as it relates, of course, to your industry, the psychedelic industry, where we know that regulation and trial results are really important factors?
Yeah, it's a brilliant point you make. And listen, at the end of the day, they have to protect shareholders and the results of the drugs, especially their DMP candidate, their results still aren't proven out. So as they climb and get closer, we've gone through a phase 1, we're approaching and considering looking at phase 2s. In the meantime, we supply over 80 plus clinical trials across the world with our PEX-10, our psilocybin drug candidate. And I understand on Eli Lilly's perspective that until a drug is absolutely proven out, you need to protect yourself. So great on ATAI Beckley for doing a lot of the legwork to get to this point. And essentially, we all hope and we all believe that there will be good results coming. And, we feel the same with the long-term growth of our company too, that will prove out great results. And in the good news for us, supplying clinical trials, which we've done with PEX-10, which I've mentioned, our patented, formulated, 3-year shelf life stabilized drug candidate, we are getting great results already. We've seen them in cancer distress. We've seen them in helping with cocaine, abuse and helping people wean off cocaine. We've seen it in a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder. So we are already getting great results through other clinical trials in academia and some of the compassionate use grounds. So we're still in this infant phase of psychedelics in the sector. And most importantly, I want to see all the companies grow. And a company like ours that I feel is tremendously undervalued, trading under TRIP on the CSE and TRUF on the OTC. And obviously with the pivot to filament health, we think that, as in terms of we're world leaders too. And the stock might not implicate that right now, but we believe in the long-term growth and future of the company.
Well, I want to say congrats on those results. And I also want to zoom out a bit because I found this whole point really interesting. We know over in the U.S., the Trump administration has made positive announcements related to the psychedelic related treatments. And with growing support now from the government and from these major health companies like Eli Lilly, I guess, what do you think is going to be the next frontier for the psychedelic industry in terms of recognition and support? I know you just mentioned that it's growing, but what do you think would be the next really big step?
Well, obviously it would be mass distribution of drugs and verified drugs. So once we get past phase 3s and people are using them as long-term health solutions, whether it's treatment resistant, like they're trying to ATAI Beckley, or some sort of stimulant methamphetamine disorder, which we're looking at aiming and doing. We're also looking at microdosing models, which is longer residual value. There's a lot of different studies. David Nutt has done them in the UK, which are looking at microdosing, and perhaps people do these sort of longer, more hero dose facilitator based, but then you have a microdosing model that helps support that down the road to continue being in this, better place. So at the end of the day, it's a great question. And like that's why I mentioned earlier, we're still early in drug discovery. But there's no question with the big companies and especially this acquisition and then smaller cap companies like ourselves, which are doing a lot of the great legwork on the natural botanical drug candidates, that this has to get to a mass audience and doctors have to also open up their minds and hearts to the stigma of psychedelics. It's still kind of, interesting sector that people are still, feel like they're a little bit archaic in how they pursue them or look at them. So most importantly, the science has to do its work. And then, helping people will be the predominant feature for many of the companies. And that's what we're blessed to be able to be doing right now at Red Light. And by the way, when I say Red Light, we originally went on the rec model. And then we realized over the years that was going to be a tougher model to prove out, like cannabis. We did believe in it early on. We made this pivot to filament health. And right here on this show, but with Brendan, I had predicted that you will see the Trump administration, and this was like 2 years ago on Remembrance Day, with RFK Jr. and Joe Rogan talking about expedited measures into researching psychedelics. And they did that, obviously, we saw a few months back. And now with this big acquisition, it validates the entire industry as a whole, and we're only going to see movement upwards for the whole sector. So it's a really big day for us as a company, but most importantly for humankind. We always say one small step when you're microdosing, but one large step when it helps mental health. And that's really what it comes down to.
Thank you for zooming out and going over that for us. I understand that the Midday guys have some questions for you, so we'll get right into that. But first, I want to know, you already mentioned a lot of updates here. Are there anything that you can kind of tease out or hint at us for what we might be able to expect next from Red Light Holland right now?
Yeah, well, first, foremost, I think tomorrow I'm going to announce the big reveal of the name change. I'm just getting legal approvals, and it's got to go through the exchanges, obviously. But what I can tell you is that is significant because we were a polarizing company. We went that rec approach. We collected amazing data, by the way, from consumers in the Netherlands, which was really supportive in our filament deal and where we're going now. But the name change is really focused on biotech and drug discovery. So that is significant, back to stigma and back to that polarizing nature of the company. I think people will really see this clear and narrowed focus that we do have since the acquisition of Filament Health. And for those who don't know, by the way, Filament Health has a Level 8 Health Canada's dealer's license. They're a laboratory that is in Vancouver, Burnaby, BC. They've done incredible work. The team over there has done great work, and we've added some incredible work to the team. We continue to supply in clinical trials all across the world, anywhere from Imperial College to University of California, San Francisco, to right now we're doing a veterans trial in the Netherlands. So, you know, the continued path you're asking for, sort of like where can I lead you, is we're the #1 global leader in botanical drug candidate supply for clinical trials and compassionate use, and obviously looking to how we get into a phase 2 and the proper phase 2 and an affordable phase 2, candidly, because the treasury is only so big. So you don't want to get to a point where you're running out of money before you get the results. But there's a lot of interest on the company, and there's a lot of conversations being had. Obviously, not insinuating at any exits or anything at this point, but there's the patented. The 13 patents, the 13 families and 76 patents that we have are very valuable in our opinion, and you can never take that away from us. So the formulations, the stability, you know, people can try to copy. Who knows if there's people even infringing on our patents at some point, but we're the very real deal, and Filament Health and Red Light and soon new name change will make a dent in this industry, we believe.
Well said. We're going to send it over now for some more questions and talks with Joe and Sharif. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, and a big day for you guys today and the entire industry. So let me congratulate you first on that. I want to go right to the regulatory environment, Todd, right? This is, I don't want to say it's an uphill battle, but it's definitely not the traditional, you know, form of medicine that we're all used to, right? So I want to ask you something. We're seeing good amount of support, I feel, from the Trump administration. You and Adara spoke about that. Of course, RFK leading the charge there and his views on that. But what are you seeing from other regulators? Todd, I'm talking about the Europeans. I'm talking about the Canadians. How does that look? And then the second part of the question, too, is, give me your take on this. Does Eli Lilly, the big heavyweight that they are throwing their hat into the ring through this acquisition, make things easier for you?
Well, candidly, I'll start with the Eli Lilly question. We're a naturally derived botanical drug candidate, and there have historically been drugs not in psychedelics that have sold out to big pharma, and we've talked about those, you know, a little bit earlier. Jazz Pharmaceuticals, Oxuna, I believe, is one of the companies. Johnson & Johnson, I think, has looked at some natural botanical drug candidates, and not just in psychedelics, of course. Like there's estrogen drugs, there's cannabis drugs, there's stuff that have helped with Parkinson's, et cetera. So why I bring that up, though, is it could be a hurdle, right? Like, you know, I'm a candid CEO, and sometimes the synthetics versus the naturals are a battle. But luckily for us, we're seeing a big distrust in big pharma and synthetics. And I say that as a company because that's good for us. Good because people want naturally derived medications, and we're seeing a younger generation really fight for that. Distrust has happened with the opioid abuse and the Sacklers and stuff like this. We've seen a lot of COVID vaccine issues for people now, and a lot of that is coming out years later. So that's provided a lot of distrust. And of course, there were a lot of debates as that went on. But now that the science is backing the fact that there's a lot of damaging results from the vaccines. So the distrust in big pharma is something that, you know, maybe we can capitalize on because we are naturally derived, and people want that. And psilocybin, of course, that psychedelic compound within magic mushrooms, now doesn't become just like a magic mushroom. It becomes a standardized drug. And so we see that going in the right direction for our company. And in terms, remind me the first question. Sorry, my head.
No problem at all. The regulator, Todd. So, I mean, I feel like you've got a friendly sort of business environment now with RFK at the helm to Department of Health and Human Services, but what's your interactions with other jurisdictions and their regulators?
Yeah, we talk to regulators all over the world, and that's backing by the fact that we just shipped stuff to Europe today in Scandinavian countries. So we are really bullish on where regulators are looking at that. And you know why it's so important is, yes, the conservatives really push forward this approach, especially for veterans and to help veterans. I've said it on the show many times, there's north of 20 veteran suicides a day. So that is one of the big focuses right now. But at that point, no one can argue it. And when I mention no one, it becomes a bipartisan issue. You're not going to have like a liberal or a Democrat start to fight a conservative or a Republican on an issue that's helping people and saving lives. So expediting this executive order that the Trump admin has done has been really, really like a positive momentum feeling for the sector, but also for everyone involved. No one's kind of crapped on this push. There's a lot of people crap on a lot of stuff that Trump pushes through. So we're also seeing a conservative MP in Canada really tabling a bill right now. And while the conservatives aren't in power, I'm in Canada, by the way. Tory Torture is his name. So he's tabled a bill to also help with psychedelics for veterans. And this is the type of stuff that's happening in many different countries. New Zealand has opened up a market now where doctors are actually allowed to prescribe standardized medications based on psychedelics. So we have that distribution deal with a company there. And hoping to have doctors eventually prescribe our pills, which, by the way, we produce in 0.5, 1 milligram, 5 milligram, and 25 milligram. We have the widest ever distribution of that variance of range. And no other company in the world can touch that right now. And also our formulation and our patented shelf life stability is really bar none superior than any other. So we just want to work with these regulatory bodies, and we hope that they're understanding it. And I think, you know, really to answer your question, the interesting thing is I just think as younger politicians come into play here, they have a much more open mind to these types of hopefully, you know, treatment-resistant depression healing drugs or a post-traumatic stress disorder healing drugs. And they come into it with a fresh perspective. And I think, you know, that's the most important thing about living in 2026 now is that we're getting some individuals that aren't afraid to kind of say things that you might have been afraid to, I just lost my headphones, but like you might have been afraid to say years ago. So people are coming out now, and it's really important to help humans across the world. And there is a mental health crisis going on, so the time is now. And with that being said, I still think we're like in the first and second inning. This is not going away in the psychedelic sector. And again, congrats to ATAI Beckley and team there for getting this big acquisition with Eli Lilly. It just, honestly, it just validates everybody's hard work.
Fantastic stuff. All right, yeah, we're going to wrap things up here, but I just wanted to make one last point here before we do. I believe you were in some local Costco's as well, too. Is that not correct? How's everything going along those lines?
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up. So Red Light's really done a very strategic kind of review of everything that we're doing. And I mentioned earlier, we're having that name change. So we're actually going more sort of this drug discovery biotech focus. We had a brand called Happy Caps. It still does sell. It's still in stores. But, you know, a sort of a bigger corporate update will be coming. We're pivoting it away from a lot of that rec play, and even the rec play in regular mushrooms like shiitake, lion's mane, oyster. We had a big mushroom farm in New Brunswick, Canada, that we actually shut down operations on. We really want to just focus and become a drug discovery company. We believe that's where the blue sky opportunity is for investors, candidly. You know, we all see how like this sector, when things are on fire, what it can do, and not just the psychedelic sector, but to the drug discovery sector. And we're seeing it in biosciences again. Like there's a lot of attention. Stock market's been crazy. I mean, you guys study it every day, and I'm also like, you know, not necessarily a day trader because I don't have the time, but I'm a big investor myself. But this is where I think investors can really have an opportunity to hopefully, you know, 10, 20 times, you know, an investment, whereas the consumer-facing packaged goods industry is much more difficult because you're based on true financials and where that can go in that model of just the cost per acquisition for a customer, and then obviously your lifetime value. It was a difficult one with inflation and tougher environments for consumer spending. So I think this big focus, and again, always do your due diligence and speak to financial advisors, but we believe Red Light with the acquisition of Filament Health is set up really good in this drug discovery space, and that's where there's real opportunity. So that's more of the focus now.
Perfect. Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much, Todd. Looking to forward conversations. Both Sharif and I and the whole team love it when you're on. Thank you very much, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, you guys are. Who do you have in the finals, by the way? Who you
Let's go, Joey. Who do you got? Oh,
Vamos, España. Vamos.
It's been incredible, guys?
Yeah.
Like, it's funny. I'm sorry to personalize this, but like I used to be in radio, so I love talking. But I'm not like the biggest football, soccer guy. I'm more of a hockey, kind of traditional football guy.
Of course,
but
big hockey.
Man, has it just been some of the most entertaining sports that anyone can see. And what I love about it too is while the world is so divided, like these types of things just bring everybody together. And I always relate that back to our company as a mental health company. It's really nice to see humans. I know there's a lot of defeat and a lot of anger, but like celebrating together at the end of the day for such a good sport.
That's what it's all about. All right, thank you, Todd Shapiro, guys. We will talk soon. Have a good one, brother.
Thank you, guys. I do appreciate it.
Ciao.
All right. Thank you very much to Todd for that very, very informative stuff as always. Every time he's on, I'm learning something new. Wish him the best, and I can't wait to find out what the name change is going to be.
Yeah. That's interesting.
That's going to be a big one there.
Be a big one for sure.
All right, here's the deal. There goes Stack. Back through 4. Down through 4 again. We're back into this one, Bovin and everybody else. I don't know why I'm isolating Bovin. We're in at $0.75. I missed $0.75 by 3 pennies there. I had to chase it. Into 4 we go. Wet the beak a couple of times. Now I'm looking for a high day break. So let's see how this cookie crumbles here on STAK on the NQ. 37 million shares. Doing well on it, man. Good day today so far anyway. Let's not jinx it. But looking for a high day break here in the 438. We got a bit of a range here, guys, for anybody who cares. About 4.25 to the high side and about 375. I want to say maybe a little bit lower, 3 2/3 to the low side. It's been ranging since the breakout candle at 1045 with, again, 425 to the high side as a general rule. But the high of the day is 438, but it's been almost no time there. So that's what I'm looking at now. We'll see how this goes. Cars Wow, 88.23. Look at SpaceX, almost all-time lows. 134 on the dot. Options, man. And this one continues to bleed its own blood. And that means $9 more. And Joseph Options dip trade will be triggering on this one, man. And this is not a good look, of course, on SPCX. But that's the nature of the beast.
I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if we see $100 on this thing. $100,
especially
post earnings.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
You're going to see how much money this company is.
Well, don't forget. They're kind of EWS now. Don't forget about Elon Web Services now. Some good money coming in.
Did you like what your guy Chamath had to say about that?
About what? About EWS?
Pretty much.
What did he say on
you know how we use the analogy with prices of oil, a barrel of oil. So how Elon is selling you that barrel of compute for $1, Meta $1.50, Anthropic depending on the tier $30 to $59, and how everything along those lines works.
Commodifying compute,
right?
Which is what we were talking about. I think we've been talking everything, and that's why when the data center people come out there, and I respect everybody's opinion, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. I think that everything you do going in the future is going to be determined on how much compute you have, whether it's new models that you're building, engineering designs, military applications, everything under the sun, pharmaceuticals. I think a lot of that is going to be determined on compute. So we'll see. Bovin's back in at 96 pennies here on STA, 396 on STAK. I hope he prints up a storm. Shout out to my man Bovin. We're looking for more Jay Lee. SpaceX was destined to fail from the start. The way it was set up, in my humble opinion, means it was destined to fail. Thoughts, Joe? Look, there was a lot. There was a lot there. I see what you're saying. There's a lot of people who want to get out of their position. So there's going to be, I don't want to say a permanent ask or a sell order on SpaceX, but there's definitely people who are going to look to wet their beak. We made this point earlier. In the Austin area, there is almost a shortage of these $1.5 million to $2 million homes because a lot of people are cashing in on SpaceX and they're looking at, redeploying that money into real estate. We'll have to see how long that lasts for, but it's interesting.
It's very interesting. And don't forget, after the report as well, too, you're going to have a lot of people, as Sharif just mentioned, after the report, you're going to have all those people who have the ability. You're going to have a boatload of shares that are going to be unlocked. and you're going to probably see some more downside in this name. I'm posted up at 134 on this thing for a potential bounce. It went without me here, up of 40 cents from that marker. Man, oh man, that would have been a nice trade. This has been the narrative of my session so far, even though we're slightly green. It's just a couple of post-ups, and they're just not getting filled. So 134 flat. That way I would have been out at 133.70, we'll call it. So let's see if we get an additional low move lower here. Now, bro, go SpaceX swing here at 134 level. I'm trying. I'm posted up at 134. I don't want anything else other than that, my friend. Nice indecision prints. Look at this double bottom at 133.72. What a thing of beauty right there. And then Tesla, we tried bright and early this morning. Now starting to form somewhat of a bull flag, but let's see if we can get a nice little pullback here and then maybe an uptick all the way back up to 135. That would be ideal. But if we don't catch this fill, I'm not going to be chasing it all the way up here. So, yeah, we'll see what we got going on with that. We'll head over to our watch list one more time. I think Shreve said it's pretty quiet there over in small cap land. We'll head over to the mega caps. We'll head over to
not much.
Nothing crazy. We'll head over to some of these banks, right? Like we have JP Morgan down about 0.5% here today, topping into all-time highs yesterday. Morgan Stanley over here, a little bit off of those highs, reporting the other day as well, too. And then here's Goldman Sachs continuing to stack it up, but still slightly off. Hey, listen, I think it's a good opportunity to get involved with this. There's a couple of names that I believe are completely solid dip buys. These memory names down 30+% respectively. And then we also have some of these banks at one point were down big time as well too. So yeah, good dip buying opportunities to come. Let's send it over to the desk.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's take a look at the three major averages and also how the IWM is doing and dive right into what's going on right now. So we have the SPY down 0.16% on the day. The triple Qs are down a little over 1%. We have the Dow doing pretty not bad today, up 0.22% at the moment to be precise. And the IWM also closed to the same level as the Dow right now, up on the day. Let's take a look at one update that I have for you right now. Lulu. So Choice has downgraded Lululemon to sell from hold and also cut its price target to $94 from $115. That's implying a roughly 20% downside. Now, Joseph Civello, who is the analyst at Choice, has said that the weakening card spending data, declining brand momentum across social media channels like TikTok, Google Trends, as well as recent PR missteps and growing competition, as well as larger sales that are based in China, have all pointed towards the direction that growing challenges may be more structural for Lululemon than cyclical. So with that, you have Lululemon up on the day, however, 1.3%. And before we send it back to the guys, let's send it to Neil to see what is his lesson for the day.
Thank you, Sia. Well, the lesson is when you have a big event, you need to key in on price action in that day and not forget about it. It's equally true of earnings, it's equally true of preliminary earnings like IBM. But it's fractal as well, because you got to be able to think about that on even like small cap gappers. So it's the kind of thing that you can apply everywhere. I'm going to use 3 examples, and at the end of the day, I find it really helps with directional bias, waiting for turns, recognizing and not fighting trends. So the first one is the most extreme example, and that's going to be IBM here. Everybody knows by now that the preliminary earnings dumped the stock in the letter from the CEO. First day, the initial push down, you're like, okay, well, that's the first level. On the gap down, when the letter comes out, what happens? It holds first bid. At some point, you're always going to bounce somewhere. Does it hold that low? It's an obvious no. Okay, so then you've got another low of the day. Does it hold that on day 2? Again, an obvious no. On day 3, an obvious no. And this is where it gets important. It's program buy from the open today. But while it's a program buy, it's still made lower lows at every single point. So as strong as it's been today, boom, lower low. Next day, lower low. Unless, again, another lower low today, even if it were to close breaking 215, breaking 220, it still would be in the bottom of the range, having made lower lows every single day. And therefore, you can't even say the shorts are in control. Or sorry, the longs are in control. The shorts have maintained a semblance of control, at least until you break to 230. So looking short on IBM will have been a winning trade. And obviously, if you're a short this, you probably got out once and you're looking for another opportunity. But it's hard to have lost with it. You can use this kind of a notion to your advantage. And the place that you can use it to your advantage sometimes is what happens when it does hold higher lows and the trend is in your direction. And this is where something like V comes in. We've seen it time and time again. When you have that first day action, in this particular case, boom, breaks out the next day. Obviously with small cap gappers, oftentimes you will get that pullback. But what happens? It holds afternoon support and makes a fresh high. On the day that was the red day, remember yesterday was a red day for V. This is the down day. What happens? Holds the higher low. And when it does this, it shows you that it's still a bit of a buy. And you can have a little bit of bias buy action in that you can try to take advantage of because the structure has actually held the buy better than it looks. And that's on the face of, if you just only looked at this day, you couldn't possibly come in with any kind of a bullish tone other than the fact that it gapped up. And it's the same way you could look at that IBM and not really be thinking, oh, is this still downward trending after you see a buyback like this? It's not necessarily indicative. And I'll give you one last one here because I don't think we've talked about this stock today, and that's going to be PayPal. They get the deal news. Even I at the look in the pre-market in the open, I told you I think it's a short. At the open, profit taking, not a certain deal accepted by the board, all that kind of stuff, and it did flush, right? And then the first push in the open show and the morning show definitely lost the level, came back, but then it put in a higher low. That's the bottom, and it held a higher low. So what is this one? Again, holds a higher low. Today, holds a low again. So despite the fact that it was profit-taking there, it ends up being a long setup unless it breaks 54.50. Remember that to yesterday's price action and buyers and sellers, when there's a big news event, this is what you got to go off of. Things have changed in the stock. So what's the reaction from day one to day two? Where are the key price levels? Is the bid holding? Is the offer holding? And then let that lead you into the next day. It's a good way to not be fighting the trend if you don't have to be. So I hope IBM goes up. I hope this is a turn. But it's kind of been a short till it's not. PayPal showed it even despite being a sell at the open and trending down for the most of day one. It ended with the structure of higher lows and then showed you higher low in the morning, which never broke. Structure long, and that's what it's doing. And the similar thing with V. In the midst of a gigantic pullback day, big pullback, monster pullback day, it lost 50% of its value from the highs. But when you zoom out, the structure of the long actually ended up holding when you zoom out. If you go back to the opening of when this thing started to move. So sometimes that can help you with your early directional trading by just understanding what's the overall trend since the event happened, and don't fight that. Because it's a heck of a lot easier to be with the trend than it is against the trend. And it's not always so simple as looking at your current 3-minute chart. Sometimes you have to look at how things have been since things changed on that individual stock. I gobbled up the lunch already before we send you guys back to the midday. It was just a little spaghetti and meat sauce. So it was solid, man. I mean, it wasn't spectacular, but it was tasty, so pretty happy with it. I'll have my vegetables in a minute because you got to eat your vegetables, everybody. We'll send you guys back to Sharif and Joe. Go get them, gentlemen.
We're going to start here, though, with USO. Keep an eye here on USO. We did get a little bit of an uptick over the last couple minutes. I am seeing some comments here coming from the advisor to the supreme leader of Iran saying that, quote, damaging Iran's infrastructure will lead to the total collapse of the regional energy supply chain. So some oil-related threats coming here out of Iran. Just be aware, guys. Also seeing Google and Intel-related reports here. Keep an eye on GOGL and INTC. Intel apparently saying that they're exploring Google Cloud-powered solutions that help teams streamline marketing and communications workflows. Interestingly enough, both companies are reporting after the bell next week on Wednesday for Google and then Thursday for Intel. Back to you.
VinFast continues to expand beyond vehicle sales this week. VinFast India partnered with Shriram Finance to support EV financing access, while Green SM, they launched an all-electric ride-hailing service in Kazakhstan using VinFast VF6 vehicles. Together, these moves highlight VinFast's broader mobility ecosystem strategy. You can find them trading on the NASDAQ under ticker VFS. Shout out to the great folks there at VinFast. So it's super interesting there. Let me just set up something here, Assassino. Don't put it quite yet.
Okay, well, you said that what
happened, Joey?
While you look into that, here we go. We were trying for a long here on SpaceX, right at some key support levels. 133 looking like it's gonna break. I mean, you're just watching the bid continuously drop here. I got out of dodge on this one, and we went full risk on this one. So yeah, it's AC Slater to SpaceX for me here today. I'm not going to try to look for any form of a long. Maybe Tesla can give us a good opportunity just below the volume weighted average price. But yeah, that loss right there, not fun, giving back the majority of our gains on the session. And then some, but hey, it is what it is. We always have a little bit in the fight here. We always have a dog in the fight. So we'll see what we got going on, man. So the short was definitely better. That VWAP bounce was really, really good, but there's no way I'm going to be going long all the way up here. I'm going to be looking at Tesla for a potential rebound.
Anytime I read the phrase
Supreme Leader,
I mean, can anybody else help but get this image in their head? Aladdin this, Aladdin that. I mean, like, anytime I hear the term Supreme Leader, I'm thinking of this movie, man. Shout out to the dictator. But you see this?
What?
Ali G.
Yeah, he's back,
made an appearance at Wimbledon, man.
Yeah, I seen that.
So to me, my spidey sense says maybe, just maybe, we might see like a reigniting of that.
Right? I love his alternate personality, man, his alter ego.
And the British slang that he uses is awesome,
it's
right?
So
like,
good.
Watching some of these old
the best part in The Dictator is when they're doing the race and he can't
pass him.
You can't pass him.
Everybody gets clipped.
Man. That stuff had me dying. Like,
it's really funny, man.
That type of humor. Borat 2 was kind of garbage, but
it was. Look, yes, it was not as good as.
Obviously,
but I thought it was good, man. I mean, like, come on, I love America. Like, come on,
I love US of A.
I love US of A.
Yeah.
There it is, man. All right, we did really well here, Joey, on STAK. We did take this at $0.75 as we showed, and then look at this resting order rocket. It popped up into 340. That is technically a new high, breaching the prior area high of 338. And that's where I took the print. I took the print at the high of the day, what used to be the high of the day at 38, obviously cleared into 40. So it's still doing the same thing, though, guys. So I'll submit to you the trade, the range trade that is still there, right? You're finding a lot of support at the volume-weighted average price. Now, it is below $4. I do apologize. The charts today, maybe they're taking the early week off here. I don't know. Thursday? What's going on here with the charts, man? They haven't done this in a while. Yeah, that's exactly it. You know what it is, Assassino? I blame Windows. Okay? Yeah, I blame Windows. But the charts are not complying at the moment. But I can kind of show it to you down here. Let's look at this. This is the 5-minute chart. You can see the range. And so this is what I'm seeing. I continue to see the same thing since the 1045 breakout on STAK. So let's see how this cookie crumbles. But the trade is crumbling before my eyes now here on LCID. I'm 4 pennies out of the money. I got back into this because it keeps putting in higher lows. But I thought I caught a good entry right around the mid-60s, but it's continuing to put in lower highs rather than just higher lows. So I'm not sure how this cookie crumbles. I defend into 60 pennies and then I stop out if it loses that. I'm going to send Sharif now. Where are you sending me, man?
Where are you sending? Who's
I don't know. Adam, he's sending me somewhere, man. I have no idea. He's sending me maybe to, what was the theoretical or the mythical country that he was
talking about yesterday?
No, in the Dictator.
Oh, I have
there
no
wasn't
idea.
there.
Yeah,
what was the name of the country? Clearly, he's supposed to be an Arab dictator, which is definitely, obviously not the problem there. But the problem is which country he's referring to. I think he didn't want to offend anybody, so he made up his own.
I forget. Right? I forget what the country's name is.
Wasya? Wadia. Yes,
Wadia.
yes, Wadia.
Dude, that's crazy.
You guys are great in the chat, man.
Yeah, great. Undefeated.
Fantastic. Bovin says TOP is moving. Bovin says we look. Let's have a look. Bovin, it's not doing any volume, brother. 1.34 million shares. Just because you can trade these ones efficiently, Bovin, doesn't mean other people can. No, I'm kidding. Look, Bovin's good at these ones, man. It's dropping in volume. It's doing barely 12,000, 13,000 shares per 5-minute candle. It's making a big move. It's at 250. There's no complaining about that. It's just it's hard to manage risk on some of these ones, especially on the prop first level.
Yeah,
that's what I'm looking at there, Joey.
All right, good stuff. I mean, I got 5 cents worth of risk on this Tesla bounce. I mean, it could be a bad day where Elon Musk's company aren't doing your boys any favor as we're starting to pull back in a little bit here. But what I've seen is just a nice indecision print right south of the volume weighted average price. This is what I'm looking for. Just the devil's in the detail. Now it's just a matter of time if this is going to work out or if we're going to continue to slide. The 5-minute time frame not really giving me that confirmation, so we have to get out of Dodge as soon as that candle is breached, and that's exactly what we're going to do. End up taking a small loss. I put the exact Okay, I was going to say, man, with the I put the exact same size on with this TSLL trade that I had on the initial one here. So again, this is going to be our largest position. Second, obviously, this being the first of the intraday session. And as soon as this fades, then it's like, all right, we go 0 for 1 on SpaceX, we go 0 for 2 on TSLL. Obviously, we don't want to count ourselves out just yet. And then we've been crushing it on, or sorry, we had the long on SSPC. So the inverse on that in NVDA. Definitely working us wonders on today's session. So maybe we just have to stick with that because it does look like we're going to see some more downside here on Tesla. So we're just going to be, again, guys, we flipped from green to, we were red to green, and then now we're just back red. So we don't want to hold on to this for too long, just in case we're not going to get any form of a rebound. And it's an additional down day. And this is what I said, one second. This is what I said to Ozan bright and early this morning. And I have to literally listen to myself. Look where we're sitting at on the daily. This is a breakdown day. I don't see any form, like it's a consistent downtrend, so we might not get that additional uptick that we're looking for, which is totally fine. We just find something else, and maybe it's go with the flow and head towards the shorts, but we're going to head to 130 on SpaceX. I have a hunch on that one. All right, see ya.
The IWM is currently up 0.21% at the moment. Let's take a look at two tickers that I have picked up for you right now. ATAI, that's up 33% on the day. You know the story with Eli Lilly. It's entered the psychedelic. Eli Lilly has entered the psychedelic drug race after it's announced that it'll be buying ATAI Beckley outright for a transaction. And we will be discussing this much in depth in the news segment. So please stay and don't go anywhere. AMC Entertainment down 4.1% on the day. It's announced today that it will be reporting results for the second quarter that's ended June 30th. On Monday, 20th of July of this year. So with that, AMC down 4.1 and ATAI up 33% on the day.
Thank you very much for that, Sia. Yes, Bloom Energy bleeding its own blood. So yeah. Well, I'm involved in this too, Sia. We did wet the beak, but we're still holding the majority of the position. Bleeding into 200. Farm Trader bringing my attention to this one. I don't really like to look at my portfolio during the show, but this one looks like it's headed to 200 to 190. And I say that because that's the 200 exponential on the 5, so let's see. Also, the weekly has been factoring in a lot on my long-term time frame. So this one could see 180 as well, man. Like we could lose 200 if 190 or 200 doesn't hold. This could see 180, maybe even down to 175. And that's because look at that. Look at all those topping tail candles there on the weekly on Bloom Energy. Now, it could flush, right? So be careful with this one, all right? And set up stops that jive with the price action, with key levels of technical resistance and support, right? Like if you're going to put your stop in a willy-nilly area because that's where you're out of the money, or, you know, that's where you got in, whatever. I mean, the market doesn't really care about where you got in or where you're out of the money. The market typically cares about key areas of technical support and resistance. So if you can, keep your look on there. AI is dead. Data centers are dead. Burn it all, says Adam. Thank you for the $2 super chat. He's entitled to his opinion, man. I don't agree. But
I mean, I believe it's very much alive, but
well, your friend Kathy Hochul.
Yeah. Over there in New York.
Yeah, not like anybody really wants to build a data center in New York.
Yeah.
So.
I thought that was your friend.
My friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we're having a good time. All right, still involved here in LCID.
I didn't sound like it.
In LCID, looking for a move up. What do I got? I got 72, showing me 69. So we'll see how this cookie crumbles. I'm also keeping a close eye here on STAK. It's above $4, or sorry, it's above the volume weighted average price, south of $4. And I don't really know how this is going to go, other than to say, look, it finds support at 3 2/3. It finds resistance generally at 4 1/4 to 4 1/3. So do with that information as you will. But to me, it's not the right time to enter right now. If it gets above, 4 and stays above 4, we can get involved. But I don't have anything on this one. There are others, though. So let's bring those in. Some new ones here being called out by the chat. Astute. IQST, shout out to TT Mass. He pointed this one out to me. I told TT Mass I wasn't liking the look of this compression pattern because it's becoming even more and more narrow in the price action. So it's gonna have to resolve itself one way or another. I'm just hoping it resolves itself to the high side and takes out that 1 1/4, maybe even 1 1/3. So IQST in focus. What else? TGHL. Yes, someone brought this to my attention. Whoever you are, shout me out again because I didn't give you credit for this one, but I didn't have eyes on TGHL, nor would I trade it quite yet. It's still, just recovering now from the failure of VWAP, which is at 135.
Oh my
I
God.
definitely want to see a clearing here of 145 or high 140s. Let me make my case. Double top on volume, mind you, at 7 and 705. Good amount of volume there. 2.4 million shares traded at 7 and 1.5 traded at 705. So ample volume, not as ample as the implied balance open. We did 3.4 on that and about 3 on this one. So what I want to see is a decisive clearing of this very obvious technical level of resistance that we have a lot of trouble closing above. So we had the trouble yesterday with that same area. We got above it, failed, and then started using it as resistance again in the pre-market, but there was enough volume, I guess, in the implied balance open to push us up into 170, but down we went, right below 145 again. So TGHL, definitely looking for a 145, hold or breach for me to mosey on into that trade. I'm out of the money again here on LCID by 4 pennies. I don't know, Joe. Let's look at this a little bit more here, man. Let me bring this in. Let's look at the 15 on Lucid. Yeah, the 15 is not really giving me a signal to get out either, man. It isn't. This is a bull flag on the 15. You can split this however you want. On the 5, doesn't look much different. Just the lower highs are more pronounced on the 5. But you, by the same token, you have higher lows as well. So I don't know exactly how to maneuver here, but I know where my out is. So that's kind of the look there. TGHL is not updating because we don't have that on the side watch list. Okay, good. 140 here for TGHL. So that level I was just speaking about, 145, only puts us 5 pennies away. Time to load this up on a trading screen and get a gander of what the Sorry, brother.
Let me cover this.
Go ahead,
here,
brother.
Steve. Yeah, all right. So there it is. We'll take another stop out on Tesla. I mean, it's just not turning around. There's consecutive 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 35 minutes of straight selling, breaks through the low of the day. That's it for this name, man. And I mean, we were talking about putting the most size of the session on these 2 trades. Now, that's it. My tolerance, I'm still in it. How? How am I still in?
You might have had more shares, just flatten out.
Yeah, I did. I definitely did. But anyways, aside from that, so yeah, I mean, there it is, another loss on it, and it's just not finding a rebound. Now that I'm out, it's probably going to bounce. But what kept happening is right here at 1189 on TSLL, just rejecting. There's a couple of strong spikes, but hey, my patience and my tolerance for this name has worn thin. So what I got to do is maybe head over to the small caps or just sit on my hands till this 2 or 3 o'clock hour, right? Because right now, we're just chopping around. We have NVDA not doing too much, a nice stair step lower and consecutive lower highs here. The NASDAQ's heading towards the low of the day, and then Tesla. So when I find myself getting what they say, Sharif, and what you say is when you're trying to scratch that itch and you get the jitters and you're just getting all fidgety, that's it for me. So it's me just being self-aware on the fact that, all right, if I'm going to get that frustrated on these losses, which is totally fine, we're getting out when we're supposed to.
Exactly.
But we're not getting any form of a rebound that I was looking for, and the 5-minute time frame is confirming that. So we'll pass up on these two names. We'll go 0 for 2 on Tesla. SSPC was definitely our better trader on the day. And then we had NVDA, which is continuing to sell a little bit here. So we'll be patient. We'll head over to our watch list and find something else to trade. There are some more indecision prints, but I believe they're just displaying themselves without any form of confirmation. There's no reason why I wouldn't go long there, and I think that's just something to realize and accept that it's like, all right, you took the chance just in case there was a bounce. Now I was a part of this liquidity grab, and then now we're probably going to make that move a little bit higher as the market is really struggling to find a definitive direction, even though, like I said earlier, pre-market lows, we are about to crack the low of the day. Makes things a little bit more difficult, but 5-minute candle starting to display itself. Maybe I should have just been a little bit more patient on this one.
Have you looked at the price action on Nebius lately?
No.
Whew. Okay, let me ask you something quick. Have you ever been in? Have you ever owned a NeoCloud, like a CoreWeave, a Nebius, anybody else?
No,
who's in the NeoCloud game?
I mean, I own Google.
Yeah, of course, that's NeoCloud as well, but it's also like literally an ETF.
It's everything,
right?
but I would rather just go with the big dogs themselves, like Google, like the Google and stuff like.
But it's less of a pure play, right? So
it is.
So what I'm trying to get at, okay, is Nebius here is bleeding its own blood. We were at 300 like 3 weeks ago. We've almost lost half the company's value in a few frickin' weeks. Let's drag 300 down to the current price action. We're down 41%. I'm not saying this is a technical area you gotta buy. You buy when it's 40%. No, I'm just saying, this is on sale here, and I could be interested at some point because I've never owned any of these NeoClouds. Now, my point is, I'm gonna wait a little bit more here. 170 is an interesting level for me. And the reason I say that, take a gander of that April area high where we kept rejecting 170. Now, the problem being is that 170 is also 20 bucks away from that 200. So if I was to get in 170 in the long term and or swing, I would get in only a partial position with a view to adding more at that 150. Now that 150 hits, the company's lost 50% of its value, I don't know, and however it hits 150 a month. You know what I mean? Like, this is kind of crazy price action here on Nebius. So I'm interested at 170. In fact, I may throw in a couple of resting orders in and around there with a view to adding into 150. Guys, I have to digress because stack is, the ask is getting stacked here. To the downside it goes. Stack, bleeding its own blood, losing the range about which I spoke, which is about 2/3 to 3.5. It just went to 340. It lost VWAP. And if it loses 330 to 3.25, this could be bad, because I say that 330 to 3.25, looking at this area right here, that is an area resistance, a bull flag, top end of the range. So stack in trouble. Bob B. Trader, SOXS. Well said, Bob. I'm just going to answer you by showing this. No green names for the second day in a row in the world of micros, in the world of semis. It has been a tough look, but we know how these ones trade. They take the escalator up and the elevator down. Now, a lot easier said than done, but these are the opportunities if you are bullish on the space that you should be buying. Never financial advice. ASML was green on the morning. It's above 1,800. I would say it's probably one of the stronger names because only down 0.5%. Everything else seems to be 1% upwards. In fact, most of these names are high single digits. Better than yesterday, though, when we had a lot of mid-single digit red. I'm talking about Sandex. I'm talking about WDC Assassino and all these other ones. Let's go to the super chats. Thank you, Bob, SOXS. Let's just look at that one quick. Assassino for him.
What an absolute.
It's all right, brother. This is SOXS, right? So obviously it's not been good for the shorts on the semis on a general basis lately. Intraday, of course, it's good. But here you are, man. You're starting to make a rounded shape, and we could get a bigger pullback in the semis, especially if this comes back into the 50. Intraday, Bob, You have support at 51.50. That's a good breakout area. So should this fail 52, Bob, and drop into 51.50, could be an interesting pickup there. Let me know how it goes. Shout out to you. Stack's in a lot of trouble, Bovin. It's losing everything here. It's at 340. So watch out for that. Thank you, Mopar for life. Short interest up to 30% on NBIS.
Wow.
Thank you for that information on Nebius, man, because we were just speaking about it. Shout out to Mopar for life coming in clutch. Hey, man, I respect, of course, the institutional short sellers because, you know, they know what they're doing. Like, you have to assume, especially if they're using big boy money like that. But yeah, look, you know, if there's more short interest, usually it just means more of a parabolic move up if they're caught off sides. But I see your point there. Thank you for that. That's good information to have. Joe.
Yeah, all right. I have definitely an uncomfortable amount of shares on this one.
Oh boy.
So, yeah, absolutely. But that's what they say, man. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and see if this one's going to work.
I agree with that.
And head back in towards the volume-weighted average price. I wasn't going to allow this to turn around on me without me participating. And if it takes an additional attempt, now I have 33% more shares than what I had on the previous two positions. So that's what I'm being slightly uncomfortable with a couple of upticks up into 192. But we want to try to hold this bad boy into 95s. So yeah, I mean, who's gonna carry the boats and the logs, Sharif? You know who said that, right? Huh?
What?
You know who said that?
No.
Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs? Goggins, man.
Goggins?
Yeah. You know how he's always doing this motivational.
Oh,
like
my days, bro. I was lost there for a second.
So man, oh man, yeah, it's tough, man. Elon and company not doing your boy any favors here. Bright and early this morning, a small V-shaped reversal style pattern, but there's clearly a seller right in this neck of the woods, and that's going to be around 389.25. If it breaks down, we're definitely going to have to get out of Dodge on this one and accept the losses for what they are, and then we'll definitely be chilling. I know we have an hour and a half left in the show, but you won't be seeing me. Just as a self-realization and just a self-awareness of where we're currently sitting. We don't want to just give away all of our profits for the rest of the week on just one bad day because we decided not to control our emotions. So it is what it is. If I want to punch keys, then maybe I will just head over to Simulator. But what we'll do is we'll hold on to this and we'll try to keep that confidence to see if we're going to get a little push up in Tesla. The one thing, let me tell you what irks me, guys. Here it is. Time for your favorite segment. What grinds Joe's gears here today?
Yo, that's actually a pretty good segment. What grinds our gears, where we can, it can be like just the airing of grievances.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Any grievances we have?
So, well, maybe we'll set that up. Loose. The grinding of the gears segment
like
here.
That, Joe. That's actually a good idea,
bro.
Going
on. Yeah, I mean, because we definitely have to let loose in a while. But it's like, hey. Okay, boom. It's like all the way down, and then we have this buy program. I understand that this bull flag fails, but then not a buyer in sight. Like it's just gone out of style or something along those lines. So that's my little rant of the day. It's just like, where are you guys? You can step back in for a couple of minutes. That's all we're asking for. We're not Sharif. We don't ask for much around here. So
here we go again.
Yeah, let's see what we got.
This guy started here. He was like 3 weeks, 4 weeks deep, something like that, right? Like he was just started.
He was asking for an animation.
And then he was asking the production team for something. I think he wanted an animation or something. Yeah. And like he just like, I don't ask for much around. He's like, bro, you've been here like 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? And then it became a recurring thing where anytime he asked for something, he would just preface it by saying he doesn't ask for much around here. So shout out to my man. Just before we send it to Sia, I know we got to send it back up, but I want to point out LIMN for the small cap gapper incline and people who don't really care about trading literal penny stocks, because this is 17 pennies, 1873 high, showing 17.5 right now. It's up a decent amount here. What's the percentage, man? About 53%. This is not everybody's cup of tea, but keep your eye out on LIMN. We're going to keep an eye on it, and while we keep an eye on that, Sia's going to tell you about this.
The SPY currently down under the 0.32%. Let's take a look at the sectors, what's going on here. So the electric tech, you have Nvidia. To the downside, 2.24%. So Nvidia-backed startup Fireworks, which is a company whose cloud service runs open source AI models for software developers, is now valued at $17.5 billion in its latest funding round. Apple, we also have another story with Nvidia, which we're going to discuss in the news segment, so stay here, don't go anywhere. Apple up 1.1% at the moment. AVGO sliding to the downside, 3%. MU down, AMD is down, INTC, Cisco, GE. You have SNDK continuing to slide just like yesterday, very close to 11%. You have WDC down 10.3% at the moment as well as STX and Marvell down 8% and 8.5% respectively. You have tech services, Google trading flat at the moment. You have Meta down 1.5% with Microsoft also not down, but up 1.5%. Oracle's down 4.4%, whereas Palantir, Netflix, and PANW trading flat. Netflix is reporting after market, so be cautious of that. Take a look out for that. Finance trading flat, BRKB flat, BAC flat. JPM down on the day, 0.5%. Visa, MasterCard, however, a little bit of a strength here. MasterCard's up 2%, Visa's up 1.7%, close to 2. GS, Goldman Sachs down on the day, 4.6%. MasterCard also down on the day with Citi also down very close to 2%. Retail trade, you have Amazon trading flat. Walmart up on the day, close to 2%. Costco is doing good today. Was a bit of a flat sentiment yesterday with Home Depot as well. Home Depot is in the green, up 1.7%, and Costco up 2% with TJX up 2.4. Producer manufacturing, I would say the first half of the sector is a bit bearish, whereas the latter half a bit bullish, not too bullish. AMET down 2.18%. You have CAT down 3.8%. LRCX down 4.4%, and GEV down 3.4%. Consumer non-durables looking like a bull today. Lots of green across the sector. KO, PG, PM, PEP all up in the green. KO's up 2%. PM up to over 2.5%. Health tech, you have relatively strong strength here. Today, Lilly up 1.6% on the day and J&J up 1.1%. Lilly is up as it's entered a psychedelic drug race with up to $3.8 billion. ATAI Beckley deal outright buying at $2.8 billion. You have consumer durables, Tesla down on the day 1%. Utilities, a bit of a mixed sentiment with process industries as well. Energy looking like a bull of the day as well. You have XOM CVX up over 8% on the day. Health services, UNH has reported today, which we will be discussing in the news segment. UNH up 3.2% on the day. Industrial services, non-energy minerals, a bit of a mixed sentiment with communications. TMIS, VZ up over 2%. TMIS very close to 3%. And transportation, finally, Uber up 1%, UNP up 3.3%, and you have CSX down 2.7%, up 2.7%, UPS up 3.4%. Strong look here. Before we go back to the guys, let's go over to Adara.
I want to be brief here, but I just want to mention ASML. Ming-Chi Kuo, and this is interesting. This is the second day in a row where he's had some kind of content here where he's basically talking about a company's results or updates and then saying, oh, guys, I called it. So he just did that here with ASML. As you can see, a little bit of a pop and then fall back. You're only about $6 or so here in ASML. He's basically saying that ASML's Q2 earnings back up his predictions he made earlier. He said the same thing about Apple yesterday with regards to how predictions he made about them heading into the WWDC about a month ago proved to be true. So yeah, just be aware here, Ming-Chi Kuo kind of big upping himself. Not much of a move here in ASML, but I wanted to make you guys aware he's posting again. Back to you.
Yeah, shout out to Ming-Chi, but you know, with all due respect to the man, it's a monopoly. Right? So if you want to get your hands on some EUVs, there's only one place to go. It's really that simple. So if there's demand for it, you can only go to one place. DUV, obviously a little bit different. You got Fuji in there, some other players. Of course, the Chinese also, if you believe some of the reports, producing their own DUV. Now, there are unconfirmed reports, of course, that Huawei, as well as other Chinese companies, SMIC specifically, not SMCI, SMIC, look into it. They've developed, apparently, an EUV machine, if you believe the reports, which I don't. The caveat to that is that they're not scalable. So it's more like a science experiment that they can't really replicate because they can't get the materials, right? ASML is not just ASML because it's good. It relies on Carl Zeiss, many other suppliers. The German mirror manufacturer, they make other things as well, of course, like optics for cameras and whatever. But it's not ASML that goes at it alone, right? So yeah, some food for thought there. Watching ATPC, been talking to the guys in the chat about this one. There goes the breach of 4, but no decisive move. I'm not really sure how to get into this. I got to tell you the truth. Because I was telling Buffett, I'm like, oh, I want a clearing of 4, and here it is above 4. But there's no decisiveness. A little above 4, a little bit below 4, goes to 408, comes back down to 4, holds the level. Sometimes it fails like it's doing now. So I'm not really sure how to trade this. I perhaps can build a position into 375. There was this sort of shelf, resistance shelf that is at around 375 that I could use as my exit area, but I don't know. I'm not feeling awfully confident in this trade yet. Shout out to Richard Knapp, 5451 ATPC. Boom! So you must be long from way before there, Richard. Shout out to you, my man. Hope you continue to print out multiple storms. It looks like it's going well for you on the other side of that screen, and more pleased for you I could not be. And I also want to tell the LIMN traders, there goes LIMN back into the high of the day. We could see 20 whole pennies here in moments. 1876 high. I did give you guys this one after somebody else in the chat gave it to me. It is a good looking rounded bottom. We still are suffering though from that 7:10 a.m. high where we got to 1888. The high of the day right now, the official high of the day during regular market hours is 1876. So we are still below the pre-market high. Watching ATPC again come back down now into 390, and this candle on ATPC on the 5-minute chart looks like the hottest of garbages. No bad English there, but whatever. And here it is. It is failing into a topping tail candle, and here it comes again. So this is not a good look right now on ATPC. I'm going to steer clear of this one for a minute. Perhaps it's headed back down to VWAP at around 370 to 365. We shall see. Man. But I don't think it's the right moment for me. Hangry. Hey, Sharif, are you interested in a long-term NOK? I am, and I did consider it. Today it's getting clipped. I see that 8%. Let's look at the daily on that for Hangry. Just pretend that I am Hangry. Come with your next point. What are you trying to set up for? Are you trying to set up for the fact that it's coming into the 200 right around $10 and perhaps could be a good buying opportunity here? Make your case to me, Hangry. I've shut it to you. RG Shirayev, CPHI. Yeah, I've been watching that one all day. Bovin called CPHI a while back. And I've been displeased with the price action. It's a little light on vol. $1.18 is the current price. We have only done 4 1/3 million shares on the day for $1.25 name at 12.40. It's kind of light, but I'm going to keep it on watch. Thank you for that. Yeah, no other tags there. I thought maybe there would be a couple of tags, but there it is, man. Man, have you seen MP Materials? I don't know what to do with this thing, bro. It's down 10% today. 9%. What am I going to do with this thing, bro? What am I going to do with this thing? Like, I have to have some sort of mineral exposure. It's just, I don't want to DCA into an oblivion into this thing, man. My days. Who else is caught in MP with me, man? What am I going to do? Anyway, Hangry, they are heavy in photonics. And pioneers of the next gen cellular tech. We're talking 6G, I guess, Hangry. I was just thinking buy and hold for a stock for years, my guy. Yeah, I don't dislike that at all. But my conversation with Ozan was, and he has a lot of experience at Nokia. He worked at Nokia for a while. Shout out to Ozan. And Ozan, chime in here if I misstate any of this. I don't think we're going to have huge 6G adoption immediately. Seems to be more enterprise than commercial, which may not be a bad thing, right? Higher margins for B2B than B2C. So I don't know. I don't mind it so much. Like Ozan's position was, 6G is going to be super low latency. So you're going to be able to theoretically run data centers remotely without a hard wire. I don't know how, quickly they're going to be able to do something like that, but that's kind of the look there. Shout out to Benton. I actually bought a position in MP 30 minutes ago. Okay. Shout out to you. Perfect time to buy, Benton, when it's getting clipped 9 1/5 on the day. Andrew's in with me. 07 RKP, she's in with me. 510 as well. You guy 33, you guys are in with me. So it's a tough one on that one, man. And I don't know what to do about it. I like the company. I like the space. I like the company because it's vertically integrated, okay? So they have the entire stack all under one roof. That's great in theory, but the price action is not supportive of my theory, quite frankly. So I don't know. What are your thoughts there,
I have
brother?
no idea, man. I told you I'm in a nail
Yeah,
biter.
yeah. All right,
I'm in
brother.
a big time nail biter right
I've been
here.
trying to give you some time.
Yeah, I know. No, I appreciate it. I'm willing to go, man. I can ramble on a little bit here about what we got going on. I said in the chat, this is definitely the nail biter of the week. If it breaks this level, I have to get out of Dodge on this one, and then we'll sit on our hands. But every time the bid steps in, it just gets immediately met by some form of defense. And then we're not climbing any higher. There is some nice indecision prints below VWAP, which I really like and gave me some conviction behind this trade, but no one's stepping in right now, just making an absolute horrid. And I mean, Sharif, you know how they say the plank is like sometimes when you're doing the plank at the gym, it's the longest minute or 30 seconds of your life? Well, I can tell you this right now. This has been a long one here. It's either it's going to break down or it's not, or it's going to work for us, and it doesn't seem to be the case. Like any form of buyer wants to step in on this name right now. So that's really unfortunate for our circumstances. But then again, it is what it is. We'll just talk it through and we'll see what we got going out. Timeout, Joe says, "But why would you time me out?" I didn't say anything bad. But yeah, let's see, man. If we can hold on to this for as long as we can, and if we get a nice little pop back in towards the volume-weighted average price, we're definitely going to be sitting pretty in Suntan City. That's for sure. But if it breaks down, as soon as we get anything south of this level, could be a liquidity grab right there, and I have to accept my fate for what it is because we don't want to take too big of a loss on this one, considering the amount of share size that we have. And it looks like it's going to head there right now, guys. So we'll have to take that loss, unfortunately. But hey, it is what it is unless we get a nice little pop right here. And we're getting the 1 minute candles opening up at the lower end of the range. This isn't necessarily what we want to see. And every time, like, just focus on the tape. I'm watching the tape. You have those strong upticks, but they're just immediately met by in between and at the bid. And then now you have a 1 minute candle opening up on the south side of things, which is not that good. Now let's see what you guys got going on in the chat here. Yeah, I know, I have to call Elon and say, man, what's going on? If you have access to real-time options data over there, I will strongly suggest build a gamma exposure for Tesla. Yeah, of course. What do you think we are? We're running some... of course, we got actual data over here, my boy. What else would we be rolling on? All right, so there it is, another uptick. What are we doing? Yeah, what kind of question is that? My toast off 30. Nice, man. I said to Arun, I'll look at something here momentarily, but I really want us to focus on this trade, as I believe. Yeah, there it goes. All right, that's it. That's about it here for me momentarily. 1 second here. We're going to go over one more thing. We'll take a look at the options chain to see why there's so much resistance at this specific level. I'll pull it up because I got to keep my eyes. Actually, I have my secondary chart in which we can use, but we'll keep our eyes on. There it goes. Yeah, this is annoying. It's just that time frame where there's not much going on. I know as soon as I get out, which I'm going to right now, it's going to probably turn around, but it is what it is. Let's take a look at Tesla and see what we have from an overhead resistance standpoint. We don't want TSLA. TSLL. We want TSLA. Those guys just absorbed my liquidity and then turned the price around. That's insane. Anyways, 21,000 here at $400. I know you were looking at that level there, Ozan. We're trading at 388 right now. So yeah, nothing crazy from an open interest standpoint. See ya.
The pound performing rather strongly against all major peers right now, trading near multi-month and 1 year high against the US dollar and the euro. Sorry about that. I'm just going to pull up the chart here for you, GBP. Yeah, so multi-month and 1 year highs against the US dollar and the euro, holding a strong, rather 2 month peak driven by a rather softer US dollar sentiment over here. Let's also take a look at how the Japanese yen is doing against the dollar right now, remaining historically weak, I would say, hovering near 40-year lows against its major peers like the USD and as well as the euro. You have the USD JPY pair currently up on the day 0.25% at the moment. Let's take a look and see how the dollar is also doing today. I would say trading near 100.7 right now, up about 0.28% on the day, stabilizing from a recent slide to the 3.5-week low over here. So the DXY currently up very close to 0.30% on the day.
Thank you for that, Sia. If we can throw that super TIFF any time you're ready, we can cover AMPX. Thank you so much for that. Ruchi Shah, 222, 52.22. Let's put in AMPX. So can you take a look at AMPX? Any long entry? I would say no, right? Currently, you're below $10. You're at $9.90 low. So unless you're able to immediately reclaim that 10, which is an important level of psychological support, I'd say no. Moreover, there really hasn't been a bid on this one. Like, look at this. Look at the green line there. The green line is the 10 exponential moving average on this 5-minute chart. There has been no decisive taking whatsoever of that level at any point in the day, pre-market or subsequent. It's been a tough look. 12 2/3% bleeding down. Amprius Technologies manufacture, market, and develop lithium-ion batteries for mobility products, including aviation, EVs, light electric vehicle industries. Batteries are primarily used for existing and emerging aviation applications, including unmanned aerial systems such as drones and high-altitude pseudo-satellites. It offers high-performance silicon anode batteries and under its silicon anode platform to supply the aviation. All right, so interesting space. Let's throw the daily on this. Take a quick look here. Okay, so interesting setup. Not good that we're below the 200 or the 50. Let me throw the weekly on here super quick to see where the 200 on the weekly is. It's all the way down here. So we're below the 50 as well. Look, this is getting close to losing all the trend. If it loses this area low, I'm talking about $8 relative. If it loses that, it's in a lot of trouble, okay? Yeah, this is the weekly here. So kind of, I don't want to say a rounded bottom. It's not really a rounded bottom. More maybe a cup and handle with some convoluted structures there on the right. But, $9 pickup. If it goes all the way down, it's at 988 right now. If it comes into 9, I'd be looking for a possible rebound with my stop below this area low right here on the weekly. That is the week of December 29th of 2025, the low of which is $7.71. I would put my stop below that if you can handle that kind of move down. AMPX, look, love the space, right? Especially with drones and other, important sort of conveyances now in focus, especially militarily, right? I like it, but the market has other ideas at the moment, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm involved in this LIMN trade. I've wet the beak a couple of times over here into that 19 general area. It is 19 on the dot, high a day. I'm looking for a little bit more, man. I'm thinking 20, especially with a lot of resistance at 19 with higher lows. It feels like an ascending wedge pattern here on LIMN. It's up 61.5%, but I know it's not everybody's cup of tea being an 18 penny stock, but that's what's moving right now, man. I told y'all this morning, the pickings are slim. The pickings were slim yesterday. And now my profits are slim because here comes LIMN into 18 pennies. Looks like it may be holding up at the 10 EMA. Let's give this one an opportunity to dip down a little bit more. We can see if we can pick up some at 17. I have some at 18 here, but oops. I'm going to put 17. Let's go 17.3 for a buy. Actually, 17.5 looks like a good area to buy, but in any event. That's my look there. I'm still interested in ATPC, though. It's finding some support here, guys, at the 10 EMA. And it's about to breach prior bar high in the 5. So 1245 high is 383. We're currently showing 382. Let's see if we can get into a bit of a move here on ATPC, especially if it can come and take out that $4 level again. I wouldn't mind giving this one a try. So we've got the setup here properly on LIMN. Now it's about whether I can maneuver into ATPC, and there goes LMIN, taking out all but one of my orders. Didn't get the dip trade, but there it goes through 19, 19.5, 1940 technically is the high of the day there, and it continues to kind of try to mosey on up. Let's go. Keep moseying, baby. Let's go. We're waiting at the $0.50. Let's see if we can get a little bit more. 45 showing up. There it goes into 50, and we're still not printing on this one, so let's see if it can cross above 50. There it goes, Mr. Options, through the high of the day into 1960. We're looking for more. We're looking for 19.8 now. Let's go. I'm talking pennies, not dollars. Let's set up there. And then we're going to set up at 20, Joey, right? So in case that 20 seller comes in, we want to be able to wet the beak. So LIMN in focus, ATPC, not taking out prior bar high. I don't get it. Simple as that. Your opinion on JBS. Thank you. Shout out to Bam Bam 001. Bam Bam. I'm going to go ahead and say that's too close to Ram Ram.
Ooh, Bam Bam. Isn't Bam Bam from the Flintstones?
We're gonna have to block him, Joey.
Oh.
I can't have Ram Ram and Bam Bam.
Oh, I like Bam Bam.
I like Bam Bam too. It's actually quite sick.
Bam Bam is from the
Bam Bam
Flintstones.
Bigelow.
Yeah, what is that from again?
Wrestling, my boy.
Yeah,
you don't know Bam Bam.
Dude, Bam Bam used to be my favorite.
Hold on, Joey.
Yeah,
Bam Bam Bigelow.
man.
He'll drop a headbutt on you from the top rope, man.
Remember this guy?
Look at this guy. May God rest his soul. He passed away almost 20 years ago.
Look at that widow's peak he's got, man.
I think that's a tattoo, Joey.
Yeah, but who would Bam Bam Bigelow?
Yeah, it's a tattoo, my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bam Bam Bigelow and his little fire out leotard there he's
Bam
got
Bam
there.
Bigelow.
And you know what his finishing move was?
No.
He went on the top rope.
Yeah.
And he dropped a
Forget.
headbutt.
Oh,
on you
yeah,
with his head.
Yeah.
Right, because the tattoos made it hurt more.
Yeah. What was your boy?
Nobody got that.
What was your boy Rashiki's finishing move?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, Rashiki?
Yeah.
He like smother you with his butt. You like that, Joe? What the hell is going on over there? Anyway, man, shout out to Bam Bam Bigelow. Yes, rest in peace, Joe Mill Joe. Yes, he is. He's no longer with us, but man, he passed away in 2007. That's almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, man, a lot of it are Rashiki.
In a minute. Wow, man. Unreally. Rashiki.
Yeah. Rikishi or whatever.
Rikishi. Yeah, his kids. Aren't they the something twins? Remind me, guys, in the chat. Aren't Rikishi's kids like that tag team? The twins? What are they called?
Not the Hardy Bros.
No. The chat will get it in a second here, but I forget their name, man. The Usos. Thank you, I Grow Fighting.
No,
yes.
Scotty Too Hotty was definitely up
Scotty
there.
Too Hotty was awesome,
Yeah,
man.
obviously.
Shout out to Scotty Too Hotty. There's a dude at my gym. His name's Scotty, and I always call him Scotty Too Hotty.
Hotty?
Yeah, of course.
Right
He
on,
likes
man.
like. All right, Sia, we're sending it back up to you.
Let's take a look at the crypto markets. All in the red right now. We have ETH down 2%. We have Solana down 1.2% and Bitcoin down 0.4% on the day. So Visa has launched a new enterprise platform that brings stablecoin issuance, wallets, and payment movement into one Visa managed environment operating for banks, fintechs, and also crypto companies. So this Visa stablecoin platform that is also called VSP will be giving institutions a way to mint, burn, hold, transfer, and redeem stablecoins without assembling each piece of this infrastructure separately. So this service will begin with OpenUSD, which is a dollar-backed token introduced by Open Standard and connects these flows with Visa's network, risk, as well as fraud systems. Visa didn't move much on this, but
say sorry for not taking anything, but I'm truly not because I'll be in the chat around 2 o'clock and then we'll see what's going on from there. But we don't want to dig ourselves too big of a hole. I mean,
why are people yelling about Ford, man?
Is Ford moving?
I don't know. Why people keep saying F?
How many people are saying it though? It's down 5 cents.
Nothing.
It's down 5 cents.
Not doing anything. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's not even doing anything right now. Hit the do something there, Assassino. Back to my unapologetic ways. It's obviously being highly sarcastic. Yeah, let's take a look at SpaceX options chain here today.
Trolls in the chat.
Yeah, big time trolls, man. All right, so $100 maybe on this thing after they report earnings. There's no way. Okay, yeah, these are underwater now, so whoever's been writing those are just probably going to get absolutely decimated, as Sharif would like to mention. But where's that next level
in
that massive size of open interest? That's at $100. All right, I believe that's totally obtainable for this name and even south. Like if we go back in the history of all the previous IPOs, there's only a couple of select few that have been holding on to their key levels and their opening price, their issuing price. All right, I don't know if SpaceX is going to have the ability to do that. I know Sharif likes what EWS, yeah, I mean, hey,
Elon Web Services,
yeah,
baby.
Elon Web Services for sure. But I mean, everything else within the company might just be a little bit of bleeding its own money there at that point. But we'll wait and see, man. Anything can happen in the street. Considering I'm thinking, hey, we might tank off of the report, it might decide that it wants to go on a nice little run and find some form of a recovery. Now, what I will mention is that I think it's really important to note with specific underlying assets leading into the earnings report. Now, you want to watch the price action from a day-by-day standpoint. Why? Because leading into the report, the chances are of some individuals knowing something are relatively high. We're not going to mention any names or anything along those because I truly don't. But you see some strength leading into that report, then that might be a signal that, hey, there might be some good numbers that you weren't expecting selling into the report. Now, it's not always the case, but I would keep an eye out on something like that. Yeah, Microsoft is moving here today. Let's pull that name up. We'll head over to our watch list and
Pull up.
It's definitely been one of the better performers today. Is it overdone? And this is exactly what I'm getting at. What happens if Azure's numbers come in better than expected? Right? This is a name. Yeah, is right, Sharif, because look at
question, bro. Legit question.
This is a name that's down 27% off of its all-time highs and has almost no participation in any form of rally over the past year and a half. Could we see a rotation, maybe into some Microsoft? What is that going to lead me into? What's that next name? Oh, yeah, you guessed it. It's Meta. Meta trading at 19 times or 20 times forward earnings, where Zuck is now starting to sell you barrels of compute for $1.50, something that he probably should have started a long time ago, but at least he's come to the realization that his AI tools aren't performing how he wants them to do, so what's he going to do? Provide cloud services, which is something I was speaking about for quite some time.
One thing
Absolutely.
super quick?
Yeah.
Apparently, Joey, I haven't used it yet, so I can't speak from personal experience, but word in the Twitterverse is MS2 is pretty good. 1.1 or whatever.
MuseSpark 2?
Yeah. Or what is it? Is it 1.1 or 2? Something like that.
So what
MS.
So what I was reading up on MuseSpark and what I've seen is that it's really efficient from a power use standpoint. It uses significantly less than some of these other AI tools.
1.1, yeah.
So MuseSpark is really, from a compute standpoint, is really efficient. It doesn't use, exactly. It doesn't use as much tokens as some of these other features do.
Said.
And that's what some individuals are looking for as we continuously grow within this space.
That's a fantastic point because obviously energy is a huge bottleneck now. We know that. But the benchmarks are also showing that this is good at coding. It's good at inference.
Hopefully.
There's lots of things that they've made improvements on. I'm not pounding the table on it. Apparently you can download it, by the way. Try MuseSpark on Vercel. Guys, do I have to do some GitHub whole thing here to get MS 1.1, or is there a downloadable program? I haven't looked into it yet, but I know a lot of these frontier models, these newer models, you got to go through GitHub and doing that whole thing. And so let me know if you guys have done that or what. Where is the Twitterverse? Amy Lou, yeah, it's more metaphorical. But yeah, to be honest with you, a lot of people are saying good things about it, brother.
That's good. Well, you would hope that would be the case because think about how much money Mark Zuck has not only on buying all of these GPUs, CPUs, but poaching talent from other companies, right? It's hey, man, at some point you're going to want to see some high quality and competitive product, which we didn't see for quite some time, but you also don't want to rush the process either. We've seen what Zuck had to say at that town or that meeting that he had, whatever. Remember, he's hey, we're not progressing how we want to.
Yeah.
All
hands on deck, you're talking about?
Exactly,
Yeah.
And just how kind of the sentiment around the company was really starting to deteriorate, but things may slowly turn around for Meta, and I think that will definitely be displayed within the stock price.
Has he done anything that well other than social media? He didn't come up with WhatsApp, so don't tell me WhatsApp, right? He bought that.
No.
Right? Honestly, guys, has he done anything and dominated in any other area other than social media? One could maybe think marketplace groups, but that I would say goes under the social media umbrella.
Yeah, I guess so.
What has he done that's been stellar that isn't social media related?
Meta glasses?
I don't know if those are stellar, man. Are they? They sell okay. Say that again, Fabian. Data mining. Well, yeah, social media and advertisement, that's kind of, it goes hand in hand. But you're absolutely right.
Speaking of advertisement, do you have chat gupt, as you would like to say on your phone?
I do, of course.
What happens now when you type in a prompt?
I don't know. I haven't used it in a while.
Type in a prompt, my boy.
What do you mean?
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
Can we do it live?
You do it live, man.
We're going to do it live.
Watch what happens now. Something that I've been, as you would say.
Okay, what should I say?
Anything. It doesn't even matter. Just type in anything.
Okay.
And something that I've been pounding the table on for quite some time.
Yes.
This is the first time as I was using it bright and early this morning is what I've seen.
Okay. We're doing it live right now.
Just type in anything.
Chat. Man. Okay.
How are you?
When is Donald
there you go.
Trump's birthday? I don't know why I asked that.
But that's all right.
What are you worried about, bro? It gave it to me. What's the problem?
Okay, you're not getting what I'm getting.
What are you getting?
What you have now after the prompt is a digital ad at the
I'm not getting the... Oh, because this is premium, brother.
You got the premium, so you're... So me, with the other individual...
It works.
Right? But if I just type something in at the lower end of the range...
Let me see. So there's ads now, huh?
Yeah, there's ads now.
Let me see it.
Let's see. All right.
Well, your internet signal is weak. That's why.
Well, I know.
You're not on
I'm
Wi-Fi,
not on the Wi-Fi.
But I don't know why, but that's all good. You're paying for it? And? The way she talks in the car is so realistic. Randy's talking about the voice activation in the car when you're going back and forth. I got to echo that, Randy, 100% agree with that. The app for the new Apple CarPlay is fantastic. It works very well. But hey, I mean, you know, this is kind of the thing. Randy's going to chime in. Come in, Randy. Tell us exactly. Because you have a really long drive to and from work, so I'm assuming this really does help you.
It's super cool. It's so realistic. It's like having somebody in the car with you. Now, I've got it on CarPlay 26.4.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Randy, but where'd it go now?
Oh, wow. So
I'm paying the premium one.
Yeah, same with me.
See how it's stepping in there?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
I didn't know that made it on there. I didn't know. Thank you for telling me.
A billion, so just under a billion monthly active users. Is this something that can be a positive outlook for Sam Altman and company, raking in that digital ad revenue, just like your boy Zuck is doing over there on Instagram?
I think it was going to happen at some point.
It had to
the freemium model, right?
It had to have happened.
The premium is $25 a month up here, and to me, it's worth it. And again, the realistic, lifelike voices and the tonality and the way that the thing speaks to you in the car. Because of course you can't read. It's CarPlay.
Exactly.
It's absolutely entertaining. Yep. Number one, it's informative. Number two, it's really well done on this version. What is it? 4.6 now?
Something like that. 5.5 or 5.6, something like that.
So I'm impressed. I was rather taken with how well it was done.
And you can do genuine learning on there. So if you have time, again, you know, the accuracy of LLMs is what always kind of makes me hesitate a little bit, because what I do is if I'm going to rely on something, I'm running it through multiple LLMs. Otherwise, I'll go fact check specifically, because you know how it gives you the results, and then it has the link under the result for where it pulled that. So I'm doing either or. You can't do that in the car.
So I can't run Claude in the car, and I can't run Gemini yet. Gemini's coming to CarPlay at some point, but at home I'll bounce between the three of them and just see what answers come out.
Exactly.
But all the time in the car, ChatGPT on CarPlay is
it's up there. Agree. Thanks, Randy, for that.
I said, well, Randy, if you buy a Tesla, you can get
Grok.
You can talk to Grok all day.
Randy is. Randy, he's not a fan of Tesla, man.
Not a fan of Tesla.
You know, he's made his opinion known, Joey. Right? So, all right, guys, we're in ATPC. Oh, let's get to that super.
Why would you do that?
Well, what do you think? Wrapping a tree.
Well, it means he's great. That means. Okay. Well, not. I thought he meant. I didn't know he meant like. I thought he meant literally. Not.
That's what I thought too. I was like, is that what the kids are saying these days? Right?
Dude, sorry to go completely off track. The one time that I seen a vehicle wrapped around a telephone pole was one of the most destructive things I've ever seen.
Well, you don't want me to show you that video yesterday, sadly, on the 401. You should have seen that Mercedes GLA fly into the back of this car. I played the video in slow motion. He never touches the brake.
Wow.
He never saw him. He went into him at full speed. He got airlifted, and the car he hit, the two occupants died.
Yeah, and he's still alive.
And well, you know, I'm not gonna. No one wants him to die, but like.
No, but I'm just. That's
right?
a genuine question.
Yeah.
Like, is he still?
No, he. I think last time I heard he was airlifted. Anything on Netflix? Thank you, DJ Vinny, for the 148 super chat. Of course, we are waiting for the flakes after the bell today, and let's look at the chart. I'm going to show you guys the weekly. This could be good or this could be bad for Netflix. Let's find out. So this is the daily chart on Netflix. As I've been kind of just trying to make the point lately, I feel like this is setting up as a head and shoulders pattern. It's got all the right ingredients. Whether or not it manifests and loses the level of $70, we'll have to wait and see. But you're preceded by an uptrend. Check, left shoulder, right shoulder, sorry, head, right shoulder. You look at it on the weekly, kind of a similar look there on the flakes. You're getting a lot of defending, though. You can see at the $70 area. That $70 area is the 200 simple on the daily. So Netflix for the last, I want to say, 4 weeks has now been locked into a range of between $78 and $70. And just, I guess, by happenstance, that high end of the range is the exponential 200 and the low end of the range is the simple 200. This is, of course, after they did the split back in November of last year. Let's see how Netflix does, man. But I think, you know, one slip up here probably gets them into some trouble. Now, if they do fail, if they do lose, then they're losing one of the most important key levels, which is 70. 70 is an area of resistance going back to when we really sold off at the end of 21 and we dropped on Netflix. We lost 75% of our value. From the moment Jerome Powell went to the Hill, said inflation is not in fact transitory, and then we never stopped bottoming out, Joseph, until May of that year. Then we started slowly moving up. But on that bottoming process, we lost 75% of our value. Not we, Netflix. So if you lose that $70 area, I think that that's very, very bearish. Now, where do you find it? Where do you find support? Probably 50, right? Given what we topping tilled there on the week of, what week was that? July 17th of 2023. We'll see. We won't have to wait long, though. Netflix does report after the bell. Ray Presidente, 4607. He's dropping 10. Chat, thank him for that. Curbing free speech. He was pretty good at that. I'm not going to forget that. I'm not going to forget that. And I stopped using a lot of his products when he did do that. I won't forget that.
Who's Zuck?
Thank you very much for that, Assassino. F-Cell getting clipped today. This is a swing that we have. Let's have a look at the sell. Bloom Energy also getting clipped today with the sell.
What's up, Katina, man?
What's going on there, Katina, man? Let's flip the...
How's it out there? Is it still smoky?
It's actually nice weather today, despite the fact that it's like... It is worse.
Feels
Guys,
better?
it is... Okay, then I've probably already been stopped out of the majority of the position here because it lost $20. So that's where my stop was. My stop was below $20. I think I only have like 15 or 20%. I'll have to double check. But I did have my stop below that $20 area, so much already been stopped out. Possible bounce. We're down 14% on the sell. We're finding support here generally at 17, but we're still below moving averages. VWAP at about 18.15, give or take. Let me know how it goes. I mean, the sell I don't trade intraday. It was a swing trade, and it looks like I'm out of the majority of that now. We'll have to see. I'll update you guys tomorrow on that. Joey, what are you looking at?
Good stuff, man. I mean, it's 112.
Lucid's losing VWAP.
Yeah, Lucid's losing VWAP.
IQST breaking out.
We were looking at the options chain here not too long ago. I thought we were going to hop into the news segment at this given moment. So other than that, as from an equity and trading standpoint, I don't have anything going on. You've seen what we were dealing with here on Tesla. I don't know what happened from this point yet. It's not really doing anything right now. So it looks like it could be a potential consolidation before we make an additional low. I would be surprised if we make that pop higher. With that being said, it can most definitely happen. Yeah, SpaceX broke, Katina, man, all the way to the downside. Yeah, there you go. Bang on that one to the south side. Who hit the fail?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
That wasn't me. I didn't move my hand.
But we'll head over. We'll look over here on SanDisk, right? Like SanDisk down 10% again yesterday. At the lows was down 15%. This name's putting in a new low here. Same thing with Western Digital to the downside, Seagate, and then DRAM has been an absolute dumpster fire. Unfortunately, we're talking about a lot of it being in U.S. Treasuries. So SK Hynix off of that 194 high, you're down 20% on that bad boy. And SNDK, you're pretty close to 30%, which I think is a good opportunity. 40%, wow. Yeah, I mean, as I redo my picks, this might be one of them here. SanDisk, or I might have to take. No, I'm very worried about it there, Katina, man. Is this? Tiffany, I like Taiwan Semi 2 down 15% off of the all-time high. She's got her picks, brother. Yeah, you can see it on the board there. But yeah, Taiwan Semi. Speaking of, let's do the news.
Hold on, we have to cover these super chats. So do this one first, and then I'll do the one after.
Thoughts on buying SKHY at this level? Buy for me. I literally just talked about SK Hynix. Again, wait for a little bit more of a pullback, guys. There's a lot going on, obviously, with this ADR stepping in. Quite a bit of noise. I'd be more patient on this one.
All right. Thank you, Nick, for the $2 super chat. Sharif, can you give your thoughts on stock? I don't like it, Nick. Right now, it's holding structure from the wrong way. So lost the trend that we spoke about, 3 2/3 as support. It was about 4 1/3, 4 1/4 as resistance. That's now switched up because now we got down to 3 1/3, and now we're using 3 2/3 as resistance. So unless we can mosey on up above that 3 2/3, and even more so than that, Nick, we need to get above VWAP. I don't trade this. It's lost the structure. I don't want to crap on it too much because it's still holding prior area resistance as well. I'm talking about the bull flag from 1020, 1025, the high of which was 330, 333. It's holding that as support. But by the same token, it's holding this area of support. I'm talking about 1130 to 1145 as resistance. So unless it can take that out, I'm not looking at it personally. And Lucid just lost the bid. It is heading down. It's heading down aggressively, 6 1/4. It's lost VWAP by 25 pennies here, which was a little bit below the 650 area. So LCID on the way down, but there goes ATPC through $4. Be on the lookout. If it can take out 412, this one could possibly test the 4 a.m. high, which is 485. If it does that, my bias will be 5. So ATPC should be in focus here for the small cap gap or incline. We'll see exactly how this cookie crumbles. We're going to start the news segment with Sia, but before we do that, we're sending you to Adara with news.
Yeah, I really quickly want to talk about some comments made by Dallas Fed President here, Lori Logan, saying that, quote, modestly higher interest rates would better balance the outlook and risk. So she's suggesting that a rate hike could be needed. As we know, the CME FedWatch tool for a while now has projected that we'll get a rate hike potentially in September. She also said that some policy restriction is needed to help inflation get back to 2% because she said, quote, inflation does not appear to be heading sustainably back to 2% on its own. I'll tell you where we're headed with Sia to start the news segment.
Thank you so much for that, Adara. Let's quickly dive into the news segment. Let's start by talking about TSM that reported a 77.4% jump in its second quarter profit year over year. Now let's take a dive into what's really going on here in the numbers. Revenue stands at 1.27 trillion new Taiwanese dollars, which is amounting to $39.45 billion versus new Taiwanese dollar 1.264 trillion expected, which is around 39.15 billion around USD. Net income at 706.56 billion new Taiwanese dollars versus 632.64 billion new Taiwanese dollars expected. Now the company has forecasted third quarter revenue between $44.6 billion and $45.8 billion, while operating profit margin of 56% to 58%. Now, TSMC Chairman C.C. Wei has said that TSMC will invest an additional $100 billion in Arizona to meet strong customer demand. That will bring its total investment in the state $265 billion. CFO Wendell Huang has said that the company has also raised its budget between $60 billion and $64 billion for this year as it continues to invest heavily in to support customers' growth. Now, net income for also the 3 months that has ended in June has come in at record for a 5th consecutive quarter, has surged 23.4% from the prior quarter. With that, you have TSM down on the day, close and inching to 3.5%.
Okay, so first time ever they actually realize revenue on their 2 nanometer process. That is a big deal because that's as good as it's going to get for them. You hear other fabs possibly working at a 1.5 nanometers, but there's no commercial scalability for that at the moment. It is 2 nanometers. So the fact that they realize revenue, check for me on that. But that doesn't come without a cost. To scale the 2 nanometer process, they got to expend in CapEx, grow out their fabs, and that's going to eat into their margins as they have to expend more money to build that out. So their margins are going to drop from 67.7 to 66. So you got to be looking out for possible profitability squeezes in the near term. Also, I want to mention there's a huge shift in their product mix here. They previously, before the AI boom, they had been focused almost, I don't want to say entirely, but a lot of it was based on mobile. That mobile segment has dwindled now to 22% of sales and fell 4% year over year, whereas their HPC, their high performance computing segment, continues to rocket up from 61% in Q1, now 66%, a 5% jump quarter over quarter. I like that, but it does show concentration risk. So if there is a bubble of sorts, get ready to get clipped on this one now that their product mix is so heavily in one direction. Moreover, I want to talk about this non-operating activities. So apparently they made about 95.83 billion new Taiwanese dollars in non-operational activities. So I did a little digging. What the hell kind of non-operational activities are they engaging in? They're making them that much money. Well, it looked like they had some Vanguard International Semiconductor VIS ETF, which they made a clean, a light, a not so big of a deal $2 billion on. So what I'm trying to say is that's a one-line item that's not going to reoccur. And then last but not least, Joey, everybody and their mother's cousin wants to know how much you're going to spend on CapEx.
Yeah.
With the Arizona fab under construction, this fab here, that fab there, 52 to 56 billion, Joey, is what they're guiding for 26. They didn't guide 27 and 28. Analysts, though, very convinced it's going to be markedly higher.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at 60 to 64 billion dollars in the street. That's 7 to 14%. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm all worried about the capital expenditure. I'm not, because they wouldn't be spending this money if there wasn't any form of return on the other side of things. And that's exactly where I stand. A good opportunity to get involved with this name, almost down 20%. Absolutely. This is just another instance where you're coming out with fantastic numbers. You have double-digit growth across the board, but yet the stock is selling off. This is a prime time, in my opinion. Will I be buying TSM? No. Will I be buying anything along those lines that are correlated with TSM? Absolutely. So I like this play a lot. It's going to get you at a discount, in my opinion. And listen, if you go down the food chain and you head into the fabrication of everything, they're right at the top of this. A lot of this is not going to work without TSM here. So I like them for the foreseeable future. And again, down almost 20%. Why not look to dabble in a little bit right now?
All said. Adira put that up on the screen. Carolyn Levitt has began her press conference in the White House briefing room. So, get ready for some possible wild cards here as we send it back up.
Let me make one more point here, because I think it's been the exact same narrative, and I forget who mentioned it this morning. They just made the statement just like, hey, when you see these major names who are at the forefront of this structural change that we're going through in the world, I think a lot of it is just fear-mongering and noise. Fear-mongering may be a little bit of a strong word, but a lot of it is noise. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see TSM continue to climb and make multiple new all-time highs by the end of the year.
All right, man.
Cosmos 3 Edge is what we're going to discuss now. Nvidia, there's been a lot of headlines with Nvidia today. We're going to discuss it. Sit tight. So Cosmos 3 had been launched back in May of this year, and now Nvidia has unveiled a new model for AI model for robots and vision AI agents that deepens its push into physical AI market in Japan. So this new model, Cosmos 3 Edge, is a so-called world model which has been designed to help systems perceive and at the same time navigate physical environments in real time. It's a world model that can learn from wider range of inputs. This is compared to large language models, this is also called LLMs. This regional expansion will basically take center stage during CEO of the company, Jensen Huang's 2-day visit to Japan. Now, where Nvidia is also, as we do know it, trying to expand its physical AI footprint. Now, this is coming according to Nvidia, saying that they will be doing so by forming a coalition with the local industrial giants that will include Fujitsu, Hitachi, and Kawasaki Heavy Industries that are intending to join. Nvidia down 2.5% on the day.
Yeah, I like this Woven City, smart city development. It's apparently a subsidiary of the Woven City AI vision engine. Apparently that Toyota's been brewing up there. The cool part about it is they're using old Nvidia technology. So it's nice to see Nvidia still has a customer for the H100, right? Because recall, the Burry, his thesis was that the usability of these chips would be like 2 to 3 years or whatever the hell he said. He was obviously wrong about that. We know that for a fact because we see CoreWeave using 2022 chips and charging 125% of the price that they were charging back in 2022. And you're getting another little look at why he was wrong. You're getting brand new purchases of H100. So clearly they're usable and they're usable for more than a few years. So what is this sort of Woven City all about? Well, apparently it's a multimodal vision language model. It analyzes camera footage, vehicle data, traffic signals, all in real time to kind of actively predict and prevent pedestrian vehicles incidents at intersections, which I don't mind. So sort of a smart city setup. Now that obviously comes with privacy concerns. We know about that. And then apparently they're also leveraging NVIDIA's Omniverse and Isaac Sim to build end-to-end digital twins of the physical manufacturing line. So it allows them to verify factory robotics, optimize workflows, and then they're running actual physical crash simulations virtually before they ever try them in real life, so that they don't have to spend as much money with all these demos. So I like this kind of push with NVIDIA just to get into the, some let's just say, what's it called? What am I going for? Non-data center revenue. You know what I mean? Something like
hyperscaler style.
Automotive stuff. Yeah. I like that.
You like, yeah. I mean, listen, over the previous X amount of reports, we've seen that this was a segment in the company that was actually growing not at the biggest or the fastest clip rate, but it was steady, all right? And that's what you want to see, Sharif. Did you mention that Japan plans to purchase 27,500 of next-gen Rubin AI chips? Which I
did not mention that. Thank you for mentioning that.
So, I mean, it's not the most amount, but this leads to my next point, to the fact that, hey, with the hyperscalers, and what I'm referring to here is the Amazons and the Googles who are starting to build their own custom chips. What is that next source for NVDA? And that can lead into this sovereign AI, which we're starting to see at forefront right here. There was another point. Oh yeah, and I like that you brought this up because we had this conversation last week. Sharif,
okay, let's go.
Is the Sega point, where it's like Sega actually fronted Jensen a couple million.
This morning.
Yeah. We were talking about it a while ago. I remember telling the story how Sega fronted Jensen some company just before he was about to go bankrupt. Now it seems like he's heading over there and looking to return the favor. So I like this one a lot. Sovereign AI, I believe, is that next step in that next big thing here for NVDA.
Yeah, I see Los Polos Hermanos. He has 750,000 subs on his Substack. I get that. Some people were predicting. They don't know exactly how much he's making IRL, but they were predicting he made about 145 million. You wrote 150, same difference there.
Your boy?
The Burry. Apparently he's cleaning up on his Substack.
But that's why he's doing, I think, in my eyes, crazy things like shorting NVDA.
Well, he's making money on Cat right now. He's hurting me.
And he's making money on your boy AMAT too.
Well, AMAT's not my boy. But
well, it's my boy. All right,
beg that on me. Yeah. I've never bought AMAT in my life, but I'm not saying it's a bad company.
Watch out, AMAT button might be one of my picks.
Sega.
Play some. That's what NHL '98, and we play that on there.
NHL 98, eh?
On Sega, yeah.
I played it on the computer.
Katina, man, someone blocked here.
Someone blocked your dollar club there.
Oh, he hit the dollar? All right. All right, man.
$6 in the money. He's in a light position right now. It's not that big of a deal. No, but guys, I got to point out that ATPC is breaking out. It's ripping up now, 437 high. It's still below the pre-market high, which I mentioned was 489, but it's really getting up there now. So ATPC on watch for the small cap gapper inclined. Send back to you.
UAL has reported its second quarter earnings, but fuel costs are weighing in on these earnings. They have come ahead of the Wall Street estimates. However, fuel costs being the one thing lagging over here. Now, adjusted earnings per share at $1.99 and total operating revenue of $17.67 billion, beating Wall Street expectations. UAL has forecasted third quarter adjusted earnings per share between the range of $2.50 and $3.50, compared with analyst estimates for $3.60 per share. It's estimated full-year adjusted earnings per share between $9 to $11, which is on the higher end of the range of what it had forecasted back in April, which was the range of $7 to $11. Now, it had cut its January forecast after U.S. and Israel had attacked Iran in late of February. United has also said that the higher fuel prices can potentially add nearly $6 billion to its expenses this year compared with what it had at the start of the year 2026. Second quarter fuel costs have also skyrocketed a whopping 84% from last year to $2.3 billion. UNH is down very close to UAL is down very close to 2% on the day at the moment.
I agree. Right? I agree. All right. I want to mention one thing here that's very bizarre. I personally haven't seen it, but now I have. Their GAAP EPS, which is typically lower, almost always lower than adjusted EPS, was actually higher. Their GAAP EPS was 246. Their adjusted EPS was 199. How the hell does that happen? Well, apparently, the positive spread was driven by tax adjustments and a one-off operating special credits rather than any sort of day-to-day ticketing. So that's a one-off line item that won't happen again unless, they get more tax benefits there. So that's the first thing that I want to mention. But I also want to mention that they're heavily upgrading their airplanes, and that's taking CapEx. So it's not just, the hyperscalers who are spending on CapEx. UAL is going to spend a light and not so big, $1.6 billion to upgrade their airplanes. That dwindles down their free cash flow, and that's something you need to keep an eye on. Also, everybody wants to make the deal that, it's premium travel, it's first class, it's business. That's really lifting up the earnings here. That's incorrect. It's corporate travel. That's what boosted traveling rates this quarter for United. And then also, last but not least, Star freaking Link. They're putting now Starlink on 450 airplanes, and they're targeting 1,000 airplanes by the year end. So that will benefit them, but it will also hurt them. Let me make my point. Obviously, it's great to have an in-flight experience, and more complimentary I could not be about Starlink in flight. However, that actually increases their cost. If you listen to the Ryanair CEO talk about why he doesn't want to include Starlink on Ryanair, he goes by penny by penny about the drag costs that are going to, and the increased fuel costs, everything that comes with that. So they've got to make it up somehow, some way through increased ticket prices or increased ridership. So I like the Starlink move, but it doesn't come without a price, Joe.
Absolutely. Sharif, let me ask you this question. What do you think was the best segment, the best performing segment here for United Airlines?
Corporate.
You mentioned that. And bang, to the tune of 16%, the platinum revenue. Where is the majority of where's the money coming from? We've seen this from Delta Airlines. We've seen it from other companies saying, hey, we're really not even making any money off of the basic economy. And that has been the lowest growing and the slowest growing, only up 11% from a revenue standpoint, where the platinum was up 16%. Now, guess what? These guys are also getting an $6 billion bill right there. That's $2.3 billion higher, more than last year, 84% year over year. Is a big-time increase in fuel costs, just absolutely chewing into the margin. I'm surprised that this stock is only down 2.2%, but that is not a pretty price to pay. And you mentioned Delta Airlines has their own refinery. which isn't necessarily the case here for United Air.
No way. This is huge. Go to Adair.
Keep an eye here on MSOS. Marijuana Moment reporting that Senate Democrats are filing a bill to fully legalize marijuana under federal law. Again, a lot of updates needed, but either way here, MSOS in focus. Again, Democrats in the Senate filing a bill to fully legalize marijuana under federal law. I also have to really quickly mention here some comments that were made by a Fed speaker here, Fed Schmid specifically, much like what we saw from Fed's Logan before him earlier this afternoon. He's saying that recent inflation data is encouraging, but it's too early to place too much weight on it. And he said that at this point, he's just really focused on inflation, which is proving persistent. He also disagrees with some certain Fed members' decisions to look through some price rises because he does not believe that inflation shocks are inherently temporary. So again, a little bit more hawkishness coming from Fed's Logan earlier and now Fed Schmid.
You misled me about the state of Texas.
I know, but brother, I didn't know though, man. I know.
What a misleading.
Yeah, brother, listen.
I relied on you.
It's not like that in Dallas, though.
Yeah, the Fort Worth's a lot different.
I think so.
Bro,
was that sarcastic?
Yes, of course it's sarcasm.
Brother, I'm telling you, do you think that I would be like, hey, man, hold on.
I don't think you were committed enough to your cause when you were down there. So you were like, oh, yeah, let's see what was going on. And then you didn't really do any digging.
Wow.
How could you do that?
So what happened in Dominican? Huh?
No, you were on point with Dominican. You were on point with Dominican.
That's what I'm saying, man. Dude, I'm telling you, I went to a couple spots, and one time I was on the street, I'm like, hey, where's this? And matter of fact, some person overheard me, and they're like, what do you think this is, New York?
Well, it clearly is.
Yeah.
It clearly is.
That's
you
want to
know the truth?
Yeah.
The spot was right beside a police station. How's that?
No
and
way.
I can show it to you on freaking Google Maps.
Crazy. Dude,
literally in front of a police station.
Listen, I'm
going to show it to you right now.
Deep Ellum, it's all like where you need the registration.
No, it was not like that at all. I'm just saying. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Did you go to Deep Ellum?
No, I wasn't. I didn't even go to Dallas.
Yeah,
I didn't even go to Dallas.
I didn't go. So maybe it's a little bit different. Different jurisdiction.
Yeah, actually,
think about it, right? Because think
about
Mississauga too, right? Mississauga is limited on some of the stores here, right?
As well. Yeah, you're not wrong on that. Yeah. We're completely just we're digressing. Let's send it back to CN and speak about the next story.
UNH is our next story. Posted second quarter earnings that have blown past estimates and also raised its full year outlook. It's expecting 2026 adjusted earnings of $19.50 per share, the range of $19.50 per share to $20 per share, which is up from a previous outlook of more than $18.25 per share. It's maintaining its full year revenue guidance of greater than $439 billion. CFO of the company, Wayne DeWitt, has said in an interview that he expects the company to do better, quote unquote, than that, given the second quarter beat. Now, earnings per share are at $6.38 adjusted versus $4.90 expected. Revenue at $112.03 billion Adara versus $110.85 billion expected. Second quarter net income coming in at $4.48 billion, I apologize, or $6.04 per share compared to $3.41 billion or $3.71 per share in the same period a year ago. Revenue has climbed to $112.03 billion from $111.62 billion in the same prior year quarter. But UNH has also said here that comments rising healthcare costs are forcing insurers to raise premiums and adjust benefits, which is contributing to membership losses in both the Affordable Care Act exchange plans and privately run Medicare Advantage plans. What's your take?
Yeah, this is a tough one, honestly, for me. And I know this is something that Sharif was speaking about earlier today. I'm sure we'll speak more about again here. But the thing with UNH is, like, when this company is doing well, then understandably some people have concerns about it doing well because, okay, you're making money off of people's pain and people's suffering. And I think that really came to a head, obviously, in early December 2024, when unfortunately the former CEO of UnitedHealth was, had that fatal shooting happen to him, right? So I don't want to use too many words here, just YouTube monetization, but you guys know what I'm referring to. And I bring that up because I think that was really a nadir, a zenith, a low point here for UnitedHealth's public image, and understandably so, because it raised the idea of these people are making tons and tons of money off of other people's pain and suffering. And so for a while here, UNH kind of faded into the background. The earnings were disappointing. We had investigations. We had the surprise resignation exit there of Sir Andrew Whitty as CEO in mid-May 2025. And then once you get Buffett getting involved in that company, albeit briefly, starting in August of 2025, you start to see the stock and maybe to a lesser extent, UNH's image start to turn around. And you start to see these earnings reports that people are actually responding positively to, at least initially, for the first time in a while. So I think it's interesting. I feel like with UNH, it's almost kind of like a you can't win situation, because if we're doing well, then understandably people have maybe some concerns about it doing well. And if it's doing poorly, then obviously, as an investor, companies doing poorly, not a good look. So I think it's a tough one. And it's something I was just thinking about, so I wanted to get into a little bit here. I hope that makes sense. And I just think it's a perspective on UNH that I think is worth addressing and acknowledging that it does exist. So yeah, that's my thoughts on UNH. This infographic, not out yet. It'll be out tomorrow. But another UNH infographic that I have should be out within the next 11 minutes. So stay tuned.
All right, here it is. So this was the spot right here. It doesn't look like this. I guess they fixed it up. There's the Texas flag. This is the spot, literally.
Yeah, there's the NARC station right there.
Literally. I'm not even kidding. It's right there, and the police station was right there. So it's not, they're not looking at enforcing anything.
No, I guess not.
Right? So I saw that. So Adair brings up a great point. I need to mention total customers for UNH fell to 48.5 million, severely missing the consensus FactSet estimate of 51 million. The blowout margins, though, were not driven by expanding coverage. How could they? They've missed the amount of numbers, but rather aggressively shedding what they're calling low margin, unprofitable Medicaid and commercial members via what they're calling, quote, strict pricing discipline. Their medical care ratio as well, a very important point. Sometimes we talk about margins for these hyperscalers, this and the other. Consider that to be their margin. Absolutely stellar, 86.7% medical care ratio. That's operationally one of the highest they've had in the company's history. So important to point there. Also sequentially quarter over quarter, it's expanding. So the new CEO, if you're an investor, you like what he's doing. Perhaps if you're a customer of UNH, maybe you don't like it, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have much to say on this one here, but other than that, like we covered this on the previous quarter when we were talking about it. The CEO, maybe even before the report release, came out and said, we are literally going to start cutting benefits. We're going to start dropping customers and doing all these things that no one liked whatsoever. And sure enough, here it is, the stock. I've seen some price targets raised over here, dropping 1 million Medicare members. And I mean, hey, it's been on a pretty decent run over the past little bit. So that's all I really have to say. The company warned us that they were going to do this thing.
Oh, yeah, they were very off. Remember last time we told them out, we're like, why would they use that kind of language in the earnings or on the call?
Yeah,
but they're just basically saying how it is, right? And you don't like it, you
go
kick rocks.
There's the
door, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How about it? Let's send it back to see.
Let's take a look at GE Aerospace. So GE Aerospace earnings reported $12.63 billion in revenue for the quarter ended June 2026, representing a year-over-year increase of 24.5% over here. EPS has come in at $2.02 for the same period as compared to $1.66 a year ago. Reported revenue comparing to Zac's consensus estimate of $11.86 billion, which represents a surprise of 6.5%. The company has delivered an EPS surprise as well of a little over 8.5%, with the consensus EPS estimate being $1.86 total revenues. Now, commercial engines and services standing at $9.73 billion compared to $9.13 billion average estimate based on 3 analysts. Total revenue of defense and propulsion technologies at $3.44 billion compared to $3.19 billion as average estimate based on, again, 3 analysts. Reported number represents a 34.3% change year over year. Now, commercial engines and services equipment revenue at $2.3 billion versus 2 analyst average estimate at $2.15 billion. And finally, commercial engines and services revenue $7.43 billion versus $6.94 billion estimated by analysts on average. With that, you have GE today down very close to 6%.
All right, 24% headline number increase, fantastic. But their non-GAAP, operating profit fell by 130 basis points, about 21.7%. Really, the reason was hefty supply chain investments, a dilutive mix of lower margin products and physical engines that make a little bit less money. Also, 41% corporate overhead spike. So the company, when it split, was pitched to investors as we're going to be this lean company, right? We're going to be hyper-focused and we're going to be a pure play in a sense, but that really hasn't happened. What you're seeing is administrative costs are up, corporate and other spending costs ballooned by a massive 41% year over year. They're paying about $386 million in that category. So the pitch to investors, at least so far, hasn't materialized about them being kind of this leaner, more efficient company. That hasn't happened. And another part of the segment here that concerns me is their defense revenue. At a time where the world really is becoming more of a dangerous place, you'd think that they would be increasing that number, but that's not what happened here. Actually, their defense segment grew by only 16%. Compare that to the commercial engines, which grew at 27%. So why is defense lagging in this specific environment? Last but not least, their services and their replacement business is huge for them. It is one of their highest margin products that they have. We're talking about replacement parts for aging engines, and we're also talking about the actual servicing. They make big money off that apparently, and they brought in 43% jump in free cash flow as a result of that. $3.03 billion was not driven by building these new engines and shipyards and anything like that. It was really driven by this higher margin category that they have. And just before we send it to Joey, I want to mention that ATPC just got into 484. 489 is the pre-market high. So it's by no surprise that we're finding some resistance here at this 480 level. Be on the lookout for a 5 break and take here on ATPC. It's already up 80%, Joey.
All right, guys, despite raising its outlook, some supply chain issues here causing a little bit of a 20% increase in delays. So there's a couple of delivery delays and slower production as well, too. But there's a couple other issues. I like the fact that Sharif brought up the increase in orders. So that's up 17% in total. You do an average of between the 27 and the 16% there. The stock has been up 17% on the year, dropping about 2.2. So nothing, or 2.7% here today. So nothing crazy to write home about. Now, is this the name that we often talk about? No. Personally, the fact that it's still growing at double digits, the only issue being is the delays. I think at some point, GE Aerospace will be just fine. Let's send it back to Sia.
Let's take a look. SKHY and the AI sell-off right now. So SKHY and Asian semiconductor stocks seem to have sold off sharply after weakness in U.S. chip makers spilling into global markets. SKHY down on the day, inching close to 12%. Decline has been driven by valuation concerns and headlines, including New York's temporary pause on new large-scale data center projects, which also reports that CoreWeave is exploring memory price hedges. Adira.
Yeah, my thoughts on this are more from like a trading perspective, and I don't often like to get into like my trading here because I don't really think that's my place. But I do feel like I have some perspective potentially to add with these memory names, given that a lot of them now, at least like, Micron briefly above 1,000, SanDisk still above 1,000. So I kind of want to opine on these from a trading perspective. I think if, be very cautious, obviously, but I think there have been really good scalping opportunities with these that I want to address. So obviously, and I don't often put my chart up here. This is all I've traded all day, just SanDisk scalps. But so obviously, you miss on this first trade, lost like $13 a share in this trade. But then when other opportunities set up, risk pretty tightly. In this case, I got in around $1,490, risk to like $1,500. You can get like a $25, $30 move on this, right? So the point I'm trying to make is I know this isn't feasible for everybody. We're very lucky in a prop floor to have the risk where I can take these kinds of plays. But I did think if we're going to talk memory, we're going to talk weakness in memory, I wanted to just address, I do think there are trading opportunities here. I think if you're looking at it from a scalp perspective, if you're being careful, if you're respecting your risk, I don't think there's any reason to be afraid of, $1,000 tickers as long as you're trading them appropriately. I'm not trying to shill. I'm just trying to provide my honest perspective, and I hope, gives a little bit of a perspective for why I think these types of names are playable and why I think you can take advantage of these opportunities, even given the price, because the opportunities on these types of stocks, specifically these expensive memory names, has been immense as of late.
Listen, there's a reason why South Korea put a halt on using some of these leverage products. We talked about it from a population standpoint, how many actual individuals are retail traders over there and getting involved in the overall index, SK Hynix, Samsung. It can be a big time issue, especially when this index is just concentrated within 2 names, all right? SK Hynix and Samsung, as I mentioned from before. Now, Sharif, what I want to point out is I believe, and listen, the run that this name was on before, the worst case scenario was diluting the shares and then also getting American institution and investment involved with this. That just, to me, displayed a peak. Why? You diluted, SK Hynix raised the money most likely that they needed to. Now they're starting to dump off a little bit of shares. Not only that, you have a bunch of leveraged individuals in South Korea who are now, we know that 2% up, 4% down, that's horrible for your actual holdings if you are looking to day trade. And then that's why you're seeing this name actually climb 30% off of its all-time highs in half the amount of time that it took to move that.
You're not wrong. I'm going to take just the
40%.
Pardon me?
It's down 40%
from on the Kospi?
This is SK Hynix.
This on the Kospi.
Yeah, yes, on the Kospi.
That's the Kospi listing?
Yeah,
okay.
On the Kospi.
So it's interesting here. We talked a lot about the volatility. We mentioned to you that the Korean market was actually a limit down on one day. And let's just be honest about it. The Korean market, the stock market that is heavily influenced by 2 companies, Samsung and SK Hynix. Of course, LG's in there as well, but it's not as big. But with volatility, usually comes a reason why there's so much volatility. And in this case, it's the view of the Korean regulator, the Financial Services Commission, get it, Katina, man, that these ETFs and options are creating irregularities in some of the price actions. So what they've decided to do is they've decided to restrict retail trading from trading these single stock ETFs, typically leveraged. And what they've done is they said, look, we're temporarily suspending the launch of any new single stock ETF, quote, until market conditions stabilize. Don't know what that means, but that's their quote. Then, for the ones that already exist, they're going to triple the financial entry barriers so that you have to have a minimum cash deposit in your account of about $20,300. That's about 10 million, it tripled from 10 million yuan to 30 million. And additionally, you cannot use any of the stocks that you have in your portfolio as collateral to say for that $20,300 that you're required to have. And then also, to discourage kind of rapid retail trading, the minimum trading unit has been moved up from 1 stock to 20. So you have to take bigger positions, and we can read through that. You have to have a little bit more money. It restricts who can trade. And then there's a total marketing blackout as well. So any securities firms, asset managers, whoever, you're now under a blanket ban prohibiting them from even advertising or hosting these promotional events for single stock leverage products. Very specific here. It's not all ETFs, and they have to be leveraged. So interesting, because that's not something we see from North American regulators to be so interventionist, but that's not North America, and they have their own traditions. Thoughts?
Dude, I couldn't agree more with anything you said. And I was talking about just the amount of retail involvement within South Korea in these specific names. No wonder the regulator has to step in, because people are going to be losing their shirt. And then some. Dude, we're down 40 at the lows, from peak to the local low. You're down 43%.
Right away. You lost half the value right away.
If you're on a leverage product, you now need an insane amount of return in order to just get back to break even. So if you're over leveraged in this scenario, then it's almost game over for you. You're liquidating.
Oh yeah. You're immediately margin called. Everything.
It's almost game over. Now, my major issue with this being, I'm getting heated, I got to calm down a little bit.
I like that.
Is that this is no longer a story about a bottleneck within memory storage. This is now starting to flow over into, hey, we have too many over-leveraged individuals. We've diluted the shares. They've raised their money. So it's a much bigger thing now, which is going to add in my opinion, a whole heap more tomfoolery into the underlying asset because it's no longer about the fundamentals. It's about, hey, we don't want these people to get rinsed. We don't want these individuals to lose everything, which causes more issues within this. And that's why I stated from the beginning of this whole ADR coming to market was this is a bad story in my opinion.
I agree.
And that's why I didn't get involved in any of these memory names.
It was definitely frothy.
It was extremely frothy.
And you always wonder why they want to come to market when we're in the midst of the froth. Like, you can't blame them for trying to take advantage of the market hype. But typically, this is what happens when you're already up 1,005% on the memory names, and then you want to take a shot at North American markets. You're gonna.
I mean, like, that's a sign, and I think a lot of people have said, like, hey, when you have these things, the IPOs and these ADRs coming into the American markets, is that a sign of froth? So I hit the old Justin Trudeau. And, I don't know. That's how I feel. But
we should start jumping around now with your hands behind on your side there. Like,
somebody said something hilarious about that the other day. But no, we're talking about the moon landing, and someone did the comparison. But no, in all seriousness, the trader in me also was looking at this stock, who's been on 1,000+% run in the past year and a half, is down 43%. So. Like, what do you do? I just think there's too much noise, and there's other other opportunities.
It's not fake, bro. It's not fake. It's not fake. See ya.
Another Nvidia story has announced an expanded partnership with Toyota to power the automaker's next generation of AI-defined vehicles using Nvidia's accelerated computing, AI software, and simulation technologies. Now, separately, Japan has also unveiled plans to purchase 27,500 next-gen Rubin AI chips for its new government-backed AI venture, Noetra, that's aimed at building domestic AI infrastructure and at the same time reducing reliance on foreign technology. This will bring together companies like SoftBank, Toyota-backed Preferred Networks, and NEC, reinforcing that governments are increasingly investing directly into sovereign AI capabilities. Nvidia continues to be in the red, down close to 3% on the day.
Yeah, I commented about this one at the top, Sia, so I'm going to pass it off to Joe if you have any comments about this one.
I'm in the same boat. This is a segment within the company that you've slowly seen start to grow year over year. I think that's just going to be the exact same path, a partnership here and a partnership there. Next thing you know, you're Mark Zuckerberg teaming up with Kylie Jenner, the UFC, and all of these other things where you're growing the segment within the business. So, I mean, I don't mind it. I just believe it's going to be another strong revenue stream for the company. Send it back.
Yeah, no worries. Let's talk Amazon next. And we have Amazon announcing that longtime AWS executive Dave Brown will be leaving the company at the end of July after nearly 19 years with the company. Dave Treadwell taking over leadership beginning the 1st of August. Hi, Sean. Transitioning. So this transition is coming as AWS continues benefiting from surging AI demand with also cloud revenue that's growing 28%. Last quarter, enterprises increasing spending on AI infrastructure and services. We're seeing a lot of this. Amazon up 0.3% on the day.
This dude worked at Softy before. His formative trading was 27 years at Microsoft, where he worked on foundational enterprise software like Windows, Xbox, the Net framework. So we'll see, right? Obviously leading AWS. He's been with the company nearly a decade. I'm talking about Amazon, but he did spend quite a bit of time at Microsoft. What else am I wanting to talk about here? Apparently, there's a custom silicon relationship. So throughout his tenure, the outgoing AWS CEO, Dave Brown, he worked hand in hand with engineers and execs at Amazon's custom silicon division for the Gravitron, the Trainium, all the different chips we've been talking about. But since Treadwell has spent his career with the software platform architect, his leadership kind of changes a major relationship gap, that's tightening kind of how integrated AWS's hardware and software kind of design roadmap will operate. So I like the fact that he's coming from sort of that engineering background, because there's so much overlap now between chip design and cloud, right? So I do like that. I don't know too much about him more than that. We can do a little digging, but he's not the CEO of the company. He's the CEO of a division of the company. Again, AWS, albeit as important as a division as you can have. Yeah, everybody looks at the e-commerce division, but that's not what makes the majority of the money.
Not right now. Not right now. There's not much I can really say. Sorry, guys. I was focusing on something else. We'll send it back to Sia for the last story.
Last story for the day in the news segment. Microsoft has reportedly been telling its sales teams to prioritize the company's in-house AI models over offerings from OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic as part of its fiscal 2027 strategy. Now, according to Bloomberg, executives are positioning Microsoft models as faster, cheaper, as well as better integrated across the Microsoft ecosystem, particularly for Copilot and Microsoft 365 customers. Microsoft is currently up, inching close to 2% on the day.
All right, let's have a look at this one. So what do we got here? Let's load this up. This is the morning note, by the way, guys. We're looking through the morning note here. So let's go mosey on down to Microsoft. What do we got? Sales team prioritize in-house models. Why are they even advertising for Google and Anthropic? I have no idea why. It makes sense why they would open AI given the relationship there, but they also have an investment in Anthropic. They're positioning Microsoft's models as faster and cheaper and better integrated, maybe across the Microsoft ecosystem, but you got to be ensconced in the ecosystem to take advantage of that. I would submit to you that Copilot is not as good. Nobody even talks about it. It looks like the shift is after a move to reduce their dependence on OpenAI. We've been talking about the fragmented nature of their relationship and the fracturing relationship between OpenAI and Microsoft, not least of which because OpenAI has been diversifying their compute away from Azure, and they've made deals with many others, including some of their competitors. I don't know how you feel about this, but I could have seen this coming a mile away, right? We talked about Nadella's relationship with Altman. And,
Their move with Xbox.
The move with Xbox, right? But we've also talked about, OpenAI shopping around elsewhere and not really wanting to be beholden to the whims of Azure, right? Azure that was the biggest sponsor from the top.
I think I can completely agree on that one. Listen, but we consistently talk about the leapfrog. Microsoft has a lot of data as well, too. Like we talked about just the power of search that Google had and how it can help with Gemini. I'm not going to be looking at this any different, Sharif, from an Edge, like Microsoft Edge standpoint, right? Like if these guys can get it right, we don't want to talk about monetization, but if you go down the list from total monthly active users, we have Copilot on the lower end of things. So if you ask me, if this happens to go right, because there's still a lot of people within the ecosystem, I think it has a chance to leapfrog or really head. Don't dunk on it, man. Or like to really gain some ground, dude. I'm being serious. I think it can gain some ground. Yeah,
man. I just loaded up a webpage,
I know what
man.
You wanted
oh my
to do.
God.
I know what you want to do is dunk on it. Why else would you have done it? Listen, you can't count them out, in my opinion.
You would never count on Microsoft.
Yeah,
That's a stupid thing to do, right? Because they have a lot of money, they have a lot of engineering talent.
Exactly. And if they put all of their data to use as well, it can really help gain some ground for this tool. Pull it up and do something with it.
Have you been on this website before, Assassino? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs down! Fabian, where is he? Yes, have you used Microsoft Copilot before? That's what I thought.
Ask Juan.
Juan, have you used Microsoft Copilot before? Once. Tiffany, have you used Microsoft Copilot before? No. Katina, man, have you used Microsoft Copilot, brother?
Oh,
it's an LLM, Katina, man. Have you used it? Neil. He has once in his life.
Crazy. Did you ask Ram?
I'm scared to speak to Ram sometimes, bro.
Yeah,
you gotta get her in the right mood.
All right, Sia.
Sia, have you used Microsoft Copilot? Adara, have you used Microsoft Copilot?
Never. I don't want to. I don't care to.
Exactly.
All right, well, cool. That's why I don't mind standing against everyone else who doesn't want to use it. I'll happily use it, even though I don't.
Go, baby. It is, it's lagging. Look, I wish them the best.
So is MuseSpark.
Right? MuseSpark, yeah. Shout out to MuseSpark, right? Shout out to MuseSpark, right? No, MuseSpark's actually, if you believe some of the reports, Again,
Yeah,
I
it's
haven't
picking,
used
but
it.
it's
I haven't
still
used it,
it's
though.
still
But you don't
lagging.
hear the reports positive about Copilot. It's not like it comes out, look, oh, it did so well on the benchmarks.
Oh yeah, no.
Do you hear that?
Absolutely not. No.
Anyway, all right, guys. It's been real. Thank you guys for joining us today. We're 2 minutes over. I think we had 2 minutes from yesterday. Now we have a couple in the bag there. We can just take Friday off.
Tomorrow is Friday.
I think we'll just take Friday
Brother, I'm
off.
telling you, at 159.50, we better be sending it over to those guys. To those guys.
All right, the Katina man is demanding
he's
that
gotta
the
launch
production
show
team
right
cut
now.
our mics, send it over there.
Hey,
So
I'm
we're
not
going to give him
giving up
what he wants.
exactly. I'm not going to give up to any pressure.
We're going to mute our mic.
Proudly
That way you
use,
can't hear us. And we're
Copilot.
Take care.
Let's go, Copilot.